Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream.
And welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And tonight we are pleasantly... What's pleasantly? We're pleasantly
surprised? No. He's been planned to be on.
Yeah.
So
I'm just happy that he's here. Chuck.
Yes.
Chuck is back.
Hey.
Chuck Cavanaugh from Rise Above Leathers.
How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me back.
Oh, dude. You're a sexy motherfucker. I've heard you all the time.
Yeah, if you've listened to any of the other podcasts besides the one that you were on, I've referred to you as a sexy motherfucker multiple times because I had so much fun on that podcast, and it was
a good time.
It was probably the first really unique podcast. I walked out of that podcast just like very uplifted, very positive.
Yeah,
I just had a wonderful time. I'm like, we need more of those.
I stumbled out of that podcast feeling very uplifted and positive.
Well, I take full blame because Cedar Ridge bourbon is the best.
It is very good.
It might be the best. It might be.
You don't know what you're missing, but at the same point, I don't have to share, so that makes it even better. So, I know. I was going to ask you was, fuck. I just went right.
That's a great start.
Sorry, I know I was going to ask you. Oh fuck, I can't remember what it was.
You should have heard what he said before you got here. What was the? You totally tripped on your words. You're like,
I said, hey, it's about time you're here. You were late. Let's get the fuck going. And I meant to say, let's get the fuck going, but I said, let's fuck. He started laughing so hard, and then I was like, what's so funny? And
I almost fell over. Like, dude, you might not want to start the evening out with him coming through the door.
I know you, but not the pushing the boundaries.
That's tomorrow night's recording. Right?
That's the unedited version.
Right.
Yes.
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
What's going on? You had some current events.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in current events?
Well, I was going to tell you that I hopped on an RT today, and the government is really close, and this is kind of comic book-ish, is really close to revealing like a Iron Man form of body armor for our soldiers, like right on the edge,
like exoskeleton type stuff.
They're going to present it in the next month or two as an actual thing that. And you can see it going that way. I guess I would assume that a softer Kevlar would be better, but I guess if you can lock it around you and you have full movement, why would you not? But it just seems weird. It seems like almost you're going back to the idea of those old big metal breastplates from back in the medieval times, with leather straps on the back. And that's what it seems like to me. But
it's surprising that you said that because normally what happens is there is no type of press release, and that there's a camp, there's a group of soldiers that all they do is test brand new equipment.
Oh, really?
That's all they do.
That'd be a sweet gig.
Well, it's sweet until you've been out in the woods for 3 weeks straight with this brand new equipment that's 70 pounds, and you got to write a report on. So how was the new equipment? Well, my fucking neck broke because I couldn't lift my head up anymore because my Kevlar weighed 85 pounds.
But I took a swipe from a bear and I survived.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a little surprised that the government would come out with a press release on that. I know they've had.
It wasn't a press release. It was RT, and I don't know where they got their information from. I'm just saying that was how it was presented.
Because they've had YouTube videos of like an exoskeleton where the guy has been in this robotic type suit.
Oh, sure. And
he's able to carry, 500 pounds.
Just pick it up.
And it not actually feel he's not carrying the weight at all, but the exoskeleton.
When I saw that, it reminded me of,
but I want
was it Aliens with Sigourney Weaver at the very end when they are walking around that, almost like a forklift that's wraps around.
Or like the Matrix, the last Matrix when they were like gunning down the...
Oh, yeah.
Coming through the ceiling.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
So that's what you had?
That was one thing. Okay. I have a plethora of things to go through.
Jeez, nice word, plethora. You know who likes words like that?
Yeah.
English majors.
Yeah.
Lay it down on them.
We had a woman on who wrote a book called America's Two-Headed Pig about GMOs being fed to farm animals.
Okay.
And how bad they are. Her dad's been a vet for 40 years in Northeast Iowa. And she wrote a book off of his notes that he's kept.
Oh my gosh,
it's really cool. And so she lives in Massachusetts, and she was on via the phone, and we did our first phone interview with her, and she was fantastic. She was really funny.
Yeah, big sweetie.
Yeah, science teacher, English teacher, wrote this really cool book. It was really interesting. But
so now anytime somebody says some big, faluted, nice sounding word, we're like, hey, you know who likes words like that? Little shout out to Leah Dunham.
Yeah, she's awesome. I was also going to tell you that, so Maryland, this is going to be great. I don't know if you like these politics, Chuck, but Maryland is looking to cut off the water and the power to the NSA headquarters in the state. So the legislature I don't know if obviously it must be a little more right leaning than the average legislature, but they are looking just to see if they can cut the power and cut the water to the NSA.
Why?
Because the NSA is spying on everybody and is causing all these problems. They have too much power, so the only way they know how to do it is, if the stream's going into the into the castle and you can't get in, so cut the water source. Eventually, they'll die off. I don't know.
Who reported on that? Where did that come from? Again, RT.
And listen,
I really like RT, but there's some stories that I have a hard time believing that it's not a bullshit flag has to get thrown somewhere.
Well, the funny thing is that, but I have heard most of the environmental horrible things that have been happening. I've read on RT. They had another coal plant just pumped a fucking shitload of coal, water, sludge, whatever it is, into some huge river. And you don't hear about it on the mainstream media. Jon Stewart the other night did something where he talked about he was talking about...
Were you talking about the NFL football player?
That was one of it. The guy, the NFL football player came out, he was gay.
I was going to say, we're going to talk about that?
Well,
or did you already cover that?
We covered it a little bit, but if you want to bring it up, you can.
Yeah, Jon Stewart said that. He goes, you can be a man, you can do manslaughter, you can be charged for sexual rape, you can be a obstruction of justice for a murder case, but God forbid you say you're gay and they don't want that kind of attention. That was the joke that he put in there.
Yeah.
What was your take on it?
Oh, well, because because I'm a Raiders fan and I know, that which team you cheer for.
Hey, so. I love the Raiders. Raiders are awesome. But they're sad.
But they're terrible. No, they're terrible. I mean, I'll be the first. But I've been a fan my whole life, and that's the one thing is the only thing I have to look forward to it about usually week 6 is the draft for the following year, at least for the last 10 years. So recently, because I
hope they get somebody good.
Yeah, exactly. So daily, especially this time of year, I'm reading all of the mock drafts and whatever, and they actually. Right, a few days after, he came out and, told his story, there were so many articles about, the Raiders are seriously looking at him. He'd be a perfect fit. But I don't know if people know much about the history, but Al Davis gets the stigma of being kind of an ass and a prick. But really what he did for not just minorities, but just kind of equality within the NFL is well documented, and not many people know that. They know the Al Davis that's just, wears the white sweatsuit and he's just a dick and he drafts people with big arms and that are really fast, But he hired the first Latino head coach, Tom Flores, hired one of the first black head coaches, Art Shell, had the first female CEO of an NFL team, Amy Trask. So the Raiders are kind of, they think they get the thugs and the criminals and the badasses, but they really are kind of known for being accepting of everybody. Yeah. So, and that's what's cool. And so the more I thought about that, I'm like going, you know what? I hope he is a Raider. If he can play and help us win, awesome. Because
you cannot be. I said this last night. You cannot be Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC
and not be
a fucking badass.
Yeah, right.
It's just not possible. I mean, that's a better job than saying you were Defensive Player of the Year of the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or anybody else. The SEC is the biggest, big, huge Southern guys. And my brother played for college football down south, and when their team played the Florida Gators, he said it was like watching a college team play a high school team. They're just so big and fast. Yeah. That it's just a whole nother level. And so when I heard that, I mean, I didn't give a shit either way, but I just when I heard that, I was like, oh gosh, shit, he's Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
he should be good. They said he should go in the third to fifth,
I think is what they're predicting.
In the first round. That's for defensive player. That's badass.
Yeah,
and he'll start. Can you imagine being 25 and starting an NFL team because you're so good?
That would be awesome.
Who cares?
Yeah. So hopefully they just judge him more on the merit of how he plays. I think at the end of the day, that's They move beyond.
That's what I was saying last night. I wish that we somehow could get away from labels, and I wish somehow someone's sexuality was the least important thing ever. But for in our society and in entertainment, news, and all that crap, that's like the number one thing that people want to see and talk about is who's gay, who's coming out of the closet. Who's with who? You look at The Bachelor, and The Bachelor's all. But
controversy. Think of just. I think controversy in and of itself gets viewership. I mean, look at any reality TV. If Duck Dynasty didn't say something offensive or do something hillbilly, and all they did was just sit around and whittle their wood and make duck calls, nobody would watch that show. But there's things about it that they do that are quirky and different that people are like, oh, okay, so they watch us and I
watch it for that reason too. It's funny.
Are you still watching? It's funny.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I haven't stopped watching it because of the controversy. The whole thing that Jon Stewart did the other night that I compared to this Sam kid. He the president of France was here, right? And so the big controversy for a while on a lot of right-leaning shows were like, Mrs. Obama's dress was expensive or something. I can't remember what it was. And CNN, all the major news outlets talked about the French president showing up by himself. He didn't have his long-term girlfriend. He had an affair with a young actress recently. And he's with her now and has dumped this long-term girlfriend who has a couple kids with. And so CNN, MSNBC, everybody was talking about that part. And then I can't remember who it was. Oh, I think it was Jon Stewart who said, so France and America are lining up to figure out this stuff with Syria because he's still killing people like crazy there, right? Whole towns are still being destroyed. And so, of course, all he does is show clip after clip after clip of these serious, in my mind, what used to be serious newscasters saying, now he's going solo, or now he's going Dutch. I mean, he shows all those funny clips in a row. You're just like, so anything important is not being talked about, even on a major news net, or what we consider a major news network. It's about him not being with the woman who he's supposed to be with and how they had to shred. I think they had to shred 300 invitations that had the girlfriend's name on it, or the wife or the girlfriend that he dumped. So they had to shred these 300 invitations. And Jon Stewart's like, we can kill people from a mile away with a drone. I think we can handle shredding 300 invitations and getting 300 new ones. Like, why is this? And then he goes, oh, I'll solve the problem for you. Because because one of them was like, who's he going to sit by now? Usually the spouses sit by each other, and it's this whole conversation people were having on CNN. He goes, oh, I'll help you out. And so he pulls out this like board with like a round tables with chairs around them, and he goes, okay, I guess we can do this. And he just tears one seat off and throws it on the floor and goes, oh, I solved your problem for you. It's like, well, this is a non-issue, but if they make it right. And it was every news thing. It wasn't just like one thing was like, like TMZ making some stupid thing about it. It was like everybody was talking about it, and nobody's talking about anything of substance at all.
I'm surprised that they were even covering anybody from France anyway, because since they didn't want to go into Iraq, everybody in America is like, well, I shouldn't say everybody in America. The media in America was like, oh, we don't have French fries anymore. We have American fries. Or freedom fries.
Yeah.
So,
you guys ever had poutine? Not poontang, poutine.
You got to be
Chuck. You really know my wife. I feel comfortable answering this question.
Okay. All right.
No.
I have not had it, no.
Okay, well, then going Canadian here, it's like their version of French fries. It's French fries with melted cheese curds on top with gravy on top of that. I know.
Is it good?
I haven't had it.
It sounds pretty.
I know it, but they have like this place called the New York Fry Company in Canada. That's all they make is like poutine. It's like the mall. You go and like we have Aunt what's her name's pretzels.
Oh yeah.
They have New York Fry Company where you get poutine. You can get different flavored gravies and cheese curds. But anyways,
all of a store opening in America called Poontang.
Poutine. Yeah, so awesome. Actually, that's a great idea. I'm gonna write that.
Trademark.
Might take that.
I got it first. I got it first.
Damn it. But that's their, that's the Canadians' version of fries. So all their fast food places, like up there, you don't just order fries. You order poutine. Or poutine. I think it's poutine. Sorry.
Poutine?
Yeah, but the first time I heard someone saying, I'm like, what? Would you like a side of poutine with that?
Gesundheit?
Would you like a side of pout? Dang that burger.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? Just really quick, there's no segue here. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Happy birthday to my beautiful daughter. Today's her 10-year birthday. So happy birthday, baby! And I hope you love your Xbox 360 game.
Wow.
There it is.
In about 10, 15 years, when she listens to it, she'll be able to hear her dad say, happy birthday.
Yeah. She's like, can we do a family podcast sometime? I'd like to do a family podcast on like Sunday. Maybe Sunday we can do a family podcast.
The non-Primal Scream podcast.
Just the...
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I was going to talk about was they found they deciphered some Mesopotamian tablets that they found, and they found a Noah story.
What?
It's like 3,750 years, so it predates the Genesis version.
Okay.
And when they did it, he was supposed to, he was not called Noah. What was his name? I can't remember.
Wasn't Xenu?
No, it wasn't. You threw me off, though.
Sorry.
That's okay. And so it was a bowl.
It was Xenu. How did you know that?
It was a bowl. So it was like the ship was supposed to be shaped like a bowl, and it talked about how they're supposed to use certain natural products to seal the wood and how to do the rib framing of it. But it was a bowl because there was no need for it to look like a ship because it was not going to land anywhere necessarily. It was just going to survive. And so
maybe they were all sitting around smoking a bowl
there
when they
go. Amen.
That's how they got through the 40 days and 40 nights.
You got to do something, man. You got to do something.
Because if it's just me, my wife, my girls, and their shitty boyfriends, I'm going to freak out.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Also, have you played Flappy Birds yet?
No. I
tried Super Bowl Sunday. I was so tired of watching the fucking Broncos get destroyed.
It's like Super Mario Brothers.
It is kind of, to me, it
looks like it visually.
It looks like it visually. But what happened is he's already taken it down off the App Store because he was making $50,000 a day on this money he was getting from advertisement because it was downloaded so much, and you get the free version, there's advertisements on it, right? So the guy was making a killing, but then
why would he take it down?
Because he's getting feedback that the tubes that you have to fly this bird through these things. Have you seen it?
No.
It's horrible. It's horribly addictive, and it's really difficult. So it drove me crazy. But I still play it for an hour and a half. But you have to try it
on the toilet, and then his legs went numb.
You have to fly this bird. It's really rudimentary, easy game. It looks easy, but it's really difficult as well, and it's just a pain in the ass. But it caught fire, kind of like was Angry Birds.
Yeah,
sure. It's not similar looking or design style,
but simplistic
and easy to play.
But the pipes look like Super Mario Brothers, basically from Nintendo. So
they say he was going to get in trouble for it, so he took it down. But I haven't heard one way or the other. But I forwarded you some things today. You probably didn't read them.
I didn't read them because I didn't see them.
They were about.
Son of a bitch! Don't make it sound like I just ignored your ass all day long.
That's okay.
All right. So what did you forward me?
I forwarded you some more stuff about this kid who presented himself as being gay before he goes into the draft. But a lot of them were very much like things. Here you go. I found it. All right. It's from the Daily Dish by Andrew Sullivan, which is one of my favorite bloggers. He's a fantastic guy.
Well, you sure do like his opinion.
I like his opinion, yeah, because it's open to many other opinions. Sam, who cares about your sexual preference, was a conservative blogger who blogged something, right?
Wait a second.
So this blogger...
Make sure you say it correctly. Is it Sam? Who cares about your sexual preference?
Sam,
or is it Sam? Who cares about your sexual preference? Some guy named Sam cares about your... Okay, so
it's like somebody talking to Sam. Sam... Who cares about your sexual preference?
Who cares?
So, as a conservative blogger, we actually do care about this. Is do you know who Dan Savage is? He's a sexual counselor, therapist / whatever out of Seattle. He started out in the Seattle Stranger magazine, and then his blog is just
now. Would you say that he is the Martin Luther King of gay pride?
No, but no. Do you know the It Gets Better campaign?
Yeah.
Okay, he started it.
Okay.
So he and his partner started it. They have a son. They live in Seattle.
Okay.
He's a very funny guy.
Okay. And
very straightforward. Really, really straightforward. On his podcast, he would be like, if your partner doesn't give oral sex, you need to keep on shopping. It's like a used car. If you I love that car. It looks so great. But if doesn't have what you need to pass it. And so he talks, he's just very blunt about it. Mm-hmm. Shut the fuck up and get out is a very common thing of his. Like if you have somebody who's nagging you or you don't have good communication, he's just like, fucking bail. It's just not worth your time. Find somebody you can connect with and move on with your life. So he's very great. He's awesome. So Dan Savage said this to a response to who cares about your sexual preference. And I'm referring it to you, not that you made a bad comment, but he's saying we actually do care about sexual preferences of pro athletes or about to go pro athletes, their orientation, their escapades, their taste in the Kardashians, not their taste and their escapades in the Kardashians. But since everyone is presumed to be straight until they say otherwise, not an unreasonable assumption, as most people are straight, only gay and bi athletes are in the position of having to announce their sexual orientations. No one objects when a straight by fault assumption essentially announces heterosexual athlete's sexual orientation, but let a gay person announce his sexual orientation and watch right-wingers have the heyday. So he's saying that everything is you're assumed that you're straight unless you say otherwise. And so that assumption in and of itself makes people who are gay say, well, this is who I am. And so it's saying, it's almost like, in other words, you're talking about announcing it and not wanting to label it.
I was saying I hate labels, and I wish we could get away from it. I hate the label of Republican. I hate the label of Democrat. I wish people would be voted on by what their actions are. I wish people were looked at and cared about and popular because of what they do and how they live their lives, instead of, hey, label me gay, label me bi, label me whatever. Just go by, hey, here's a person that is an amazing actor, and that's all you need to know. I don't deserve, Matt does not deserve the right to know what Todd does in his bedroom.
I'd tell you anyways. Okay.
I don't deserve it though. I have no right to it. Right. And I don't need to know what Chuck does. I might ask Chuck. I might have some crazy sick thing in my head is like, I really want to know what you did last night. I might want to. But
what you think about this.
I don't deserve that. I am not entitled to have that information. And I feel like we are going down a road to where everybody in our society feels like they are entitled. Oh, wait, you didn't come out of the closet? You didn't tell me you were gay? I was entitled to know that. How long have you known you were gay? We are not entitled to know that. You're gay. Have a great day. Be whoever you want to be and live your life, and I love you for who you are.
And I think the problem is not everybody's accepting of that.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I don't give a fuck about you.
And not everybody, but people do. So I think that's part of it too.
I think we put too much caring in what other people think.
Oh, I agree with that for sure.
Way too much.
Yeah. They said that one of the things that was even a bigger thing was they said that life had hardly been kind to him or his family. His father and his mother were separated after having 8 children. He went to North Texas. His dad went to North Texas.
All right, hold on a second. Can I interrupt you for a second? 8 kids.
Go ahead. Okay,
dude,
that's a whole tangent you have to pause on. And
I don't know if I could. I can't handle.
Just hold it for a second.
You give me one more. I'm at 3 right now. You give me one more, I fall to pieces.
Yeah, I'm on the edge as well. I'm right with you. So his dad, their parents divorced. Dad goes off to Texas to be a trucker. She tried to keep the family together, the mom, but she couldn't pull it off. One of the sisters drowned.
Jesus.
Then another child another child actually knocked her off a pier by accident. She drowned. Another brother was shot and killed in a gang as part of a gang initiation, as was the father. He didn't die, but he was part of the gang as well. Another brother went to the store and hasn't been heard from since like 1996 or 1998. Brother went to the store and hasn't heard from again. Dad took one of the other siblings down to Mexico to get him a prostitute so that he could lose his virginity. And so one of the things is like, this kid's gay orientation is the least of his worries.
Yeah. Okay, so there is one cool thing about that whole story. I wish my dad.
Oh God!
I'm just saying, how cool would it have been? How cool would it have been to have a dad who's like, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Warm me up at the donkey show."
I was just gonna play Xbox 360, Dad. What do you have in mind? Let's go to Mexico.
Let's go to Tijuana.
Oh,
what do you think about popping that cherry? I love you, Dad. There's some bonding there.
There was a comment that a comedian made a couple days ago, just after the announcement. Not to go back to the whole Sam thing again, but he's like, you got all these big rough and tumble football fans that are speaking out against the fact that this guy's gonna play. He can't play in the NFL. He's gay, you know. And he's like, he goes, you know what I say? He said, there's two things right there with those guys. One, they're either ignorant, or two, they're secretly afraid that they're gonna find out that dicks are delicious.
Oh shit!
What was that?
I read that same thing.
I laughed so hard when I read that thing, and I forget which. I can't remember.
Joe Rogan said that.
Is that who it was?
It's Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan said that. I was like, that sounds so eerily familiar. Yeah, Joe Rogan said
yes.
that.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that was
Joe
all right. So
That
yeah, I read it. Yeah, and
Well, and Jon Stewart did the same thing with somebody where this guy was going, I don't want him in the locker room. As the whole like, I don't want to be in the shower with him. And this guy, and so Jon Stewart was like, oh, you know what? He's like, I'm so good looking. I'm so the fucking shit. When I'm in the shower, he couldn't help but want to have a piece of me. Look at me. I'm a fucking beautiful man. I mean, he just went on and on about how, egocentric people can be. Like, oh my God, he's going to look at me. It goes back to what you said last night. You had somebody hit on you in Israel. You didn't give a fuck because you're straight. You don't care. It doesn't mean anything bad about him. He's not testing your sexuality. You're perfectly fine being heterosexual.
That was my important little catalyst in my life. Because, like we said yesterday, I was extremely homophobic before that event. And then that event happened, and I was like, well, why am I so worked up about this shit?
Right.
It's not a big deal.
You're right. That's the key. It's when you figure it out, it just doesn't matter.
Let me ask you this. The comment about I don't want him in the shower with me because
I don't want him checking me out.
I don't want him checking me out. How would you feel? And I'm just throwing this out there because I want to try to compare apples to apples here. What if there was a woman taking a shower with you, Todd? What if they said, "Yeah, you're on a football team, Todd, and we got a female kicker, and she's going to shower with you." Would you be down with it? Would you be fine with it? Or would you be like, "Oh, she's really ugly."
This is unfair because my wife says the same thing. She gives me scenarios, and I'm just like, I think if she was some gorgeous fucking woman who I had to take a shower with in a stall next to me, right? Well, I'm not going to say I'm not going to check her out. No. But I also have the wherewithal to say, like, I'm married. I have, I'm not going to do anything like that.
Please listen.
Yeah, you're not going to believe me.
No. The thing you didn't hit on, which is probably the most important thing, if she's hot, I'm going to be uneasy with it because I don't want to pop a chub in the shower and turn around and be like, "Oh, hi, great game."
You want me to hold your towel for you?
I'm just saying.
Soap on a rope.
Yeah, I'm just saying that when people make comments like that, it's kind of like when if there's guys in the workplace that hit on a girl, okay, the woman is not going to. What I've seen, the woman is not going to report sexual harassing things against the guy who is attractive and she kind of enjoys being around. Even though he says the exact same thing as the person who she doesn't find attractive and she doesn't hang around. She's going to file sexual harassment charges against that guy because he creeps her out.
Okay.
Likewise, NFL football players who are freaked out about this guy being in the shower, would they be freaked out by a good-looking girl that was in the shower with them that they had to shower with, or an ugly woman that was in the shower? They'd probably be freaked out. I would be if it was a really hot chick because I don't want to pop a chub in the shower and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I find you really sexually attractive." Maybe these people who are saying this about this guy, they're uncomfortable with him showering with. They don't want to turn around.
I don't want to turn around and see this guy have a boner by looking at me.
No, I don't want to turn around and have a boner because I know that guy. Because I'm thinking that this guy.
Oh, you're thinking that they're gay.
Remember, I said I think every
you took
person,
a really long path to get there. I got it. I'm
sometimes,
just saying.
Sometimes Matt does that. Sometimes Matt.
I'm doing a humongous U-turn.
Haymaker.
Yeah.
Haymaker. That was a haymaker, wasn't it?
I like that. Haymaker's a good one.
Because I said last night on the podcast that I think every man has a sliver of some degree of homosexuality, even if it's just. I hate to say angel hair. I'll say angel hair. That's very nice way of saying it. An angel hair of homolosexuality.
I don't think I was going to say something else. Could be said. Go right ahead.
An angel hair?
Yeah.
But the people that are really freaking out are the people that are like, "Oh my God, I don't want to accidentally get a hard on." It's like when you go to a massage therapist and you're like, "Oh, please don't be a really, really hot massage therapist while I'm getting rubbed down, because the last thing I want to do is for me to roll over and be Full salute.
I think it's just full ignorance. You came to terms with things because you became mature and said, I've known enough people. I know the situations. This doesn't bother me because I know. It's just these guys who are young and have not been in positions where they feel comfortable yet with somebody. Eventually, it'll be a norm, and it won't be that big of a deal at all. And I think that's the core of it. It's just ignorance. It's like somebody not liking to be around black people because they have never been around a black person before, and so they don't understand it. And being around people that it's just another person, they assume that's got all these other stereotypes along with it, and so they don't feel comfortable. I have plenty of friends who said they went their whole entire lives in a small Iowa town and never, ever, ever met a black person until they went to college. And they did the first time, and they were nervous. And then all of a sudden, they're like, what was I worried about? I think it's going to be the exact same thing with this. It's not a worry. When you figure out that it's not that big of a deal, you just don't give a shit. Think of the guy who was a rugby player in
he better hope he just doesn't get drafted by the Vikings.
Why? Because it's cold up there and they want to cuddle? Oh.
They had that whole pretty much like Chris Cluey speaking his opinion and
yeah.
He's
a pro-gay marriage punter. He's a punter, right?
Yeah.
He was a punter, and he was pro-gay marriage.
But he spoke out, and then he got released, and then it was the whole, shtick about, why did he get released? Was it because he was speaking out and his views on?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, he's an advocate of just equality in general.
Yeah.
But very outspoken and
tweeted a shitload of tweets.
Yeah.
He was on Stephen Colbert. And that was really funny. He's like, "What's the controversy?"
But even Adrian Peterson, I think, didn't he say something somewhat derogatory?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so like
it's just ignorance. That's all it is. It's just ignorance.
Yeah,
it'll all be okay. That's why I think this is a good thing because it exposes more people to something they're not familiar with. Yep. If you have a bunch of guys who from high school to college to the NFL did nothing but be around a bunch of big fucking crazy bastards, and all they did was bash people's heads in all the time, which is very manly and masculine stuff, and you don't equate gay with that, and then all of a sudden somebody is gay and like that. It tests what you know, and until you figure it out and you accept it for what it is, it's going to be something that bothers you.
Did you see the Dallas sportscaster from yesterday that did kind of that editorial piece on his? Just you need to watch
like
it.
An older man with white hair.
Yes, it was probably the most. I mean, I think he captured so many people's feelings on this whole thing. It was like he hit the nail on the head with a sledgehammer.
I got it right here. I just watched it a little bit ago.
It was. And it's so well spoken and so well written.
What I thought was interesting about it, and this is maybe a stereotype, but he is an older, white-haired guy, Texas dude, who's very simply stating this is why it doesn't matter and doesn't have an impact on it.
Which he and of himself coming out and saying it. I think he broke a stereotype because I read a lot of the comments on the video on the website that I watched it on, and they said the exact same thing that you just said that. They said as soon as I clicked on this, I was waiting for him to go into this tirade on gay bashing, but it was the exact opposite. And it was very eloquent, I guess is probably the best way to say it.
So we'll listen to it.
Okay.
It was quite a weekend. That little dust up in Lubbock Saturday night. And then yesterday, Missouri's All-American defensive end Michael Sam, the SEC's Defensive Player of the Year and expected to be a 3rd to 5th round pick in the NFL draft, tells the world he's gay. The best defensive player in college football's best conference, only a 3rd to 5th round NFL pick? Really? That is shocking. And I guess that other thing is too. Michael Sam would be the first openly gay player in the NFL, says he knows there will be problems and they've already started. Several NFL officials telling Sports Illustrated it will hurt him on draft day because a gay player wouldn't be welcome in an NFL locker room. It would be uncomfortable because that's a man's world. You beat a woman and drag her down a flight of stairs, pulling her hair out by the roots, you're the 4th guy taken in the NFL draft. You kill people while driving drunk, that guy's welcome. Players caught in hotel rooms with illegal drugs and prostitutes, we know they're welcome. Players accused of rape and pay the woman to go away. You lie to police trying to cover up a murder, we're comfortable with that. You love another man, well now you've gone too far. It wasn't that long ago when we were being told that black players couldn't play in our games because it would be uncomfortable. And even when they finally could, it took several more years before a black man played quarterback because we weren't comfortable with that either. So many of the same people who used to make that argument, and the many who still do, are the same people who say government should stay out of our lives, but then want government in our bedrooms. I've never understood how they feel comfortable laying claim to both sides of that argument. I'm not always comfortable when a man tells me he's gay. I don't understand his world, but I do understand that he's part of mine. Civil rights activist Audre Lorde said, "It is not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. We've always been able to recognize them. Some of us accept them. And I want to believe that there will be a day when we do celebrate them. I don't know if that day's here yet. I guess we're about to find out. But when I listen to Michael Sam, I do think it's time to celebrate him now." It was quite a week.
Sorry.
All right, that's pretty good. I liked it a lot, and it heralded the same type of message that the Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I almost felt like he may have
plagiarized
just a bit.
a little bit.
But it's a good
if it
point.
rings true.
It's a great point, right?
Yeah.
Well, should we move off Michael Sam for a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
I can't wait to play. I can't wait to see him play.
Yeah, I know. I hope he just dominates.
Yeah.
I mean,
The worst thing that would happen though is if he went to San Francisco. We have too many great linebackers, and the jokes would just never end. So.
But across the bay in Oakland.
But across the bay, he'd be a fucking badass.
I'm perfectly fine
He'd
with
be
him.
the fucking black hole.
I would be perfectly
Did you
fine.
just say he'd be the black hole?
He'd be part of the black hole.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
It's a group of people who are all crazy fucking dressed.
The only reason I said it is because I don't know dick about
I know.
football.
I know. They're crazy
I really
people.
don't.
Hey, I was going to tell you something really cool that went online was there's a huge thermal solar power plant that went online in the Mojave Desert outside Vegas. And the main part of the article was that how much energy this thing is going to fucking produce. It's just phenomenal. But yet all they could talk about was how it compared to kilowatts per hour compared to coal and other fossil fuels. And I was like, who fucking cares? Eventually it'll level out, and we don't have to keep on ruining the environment. This thing is just going to sit here 24/7 sucking in solar heat. So who gives a shit if you pay a little bit more for the power for something? Eventually it's always running. I mean, you think about those like apocalyptic movies that you see, and it's the solar power, it's the old shitty solar power thing that's still pulling a little bit of juice so people can actually do something, or a small windmill that's still spinning where somebody can get a little bit of juice from it. It's not some fucking coal power plant.
Well, the cool thing about the Mojave Desert is it's not like 4 blocks wide. It's pretty large, and you could probably put more than one of these solar arrays in there, and it could probably
power the world.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
There was a really cool thing on Stitcher, who we are also on. Stitcher.
Until there's so much reflection that it actually burns out the sun because we've got so many mirrors reflecting back. Yeah, it's like when
all of a sudden we start getting all these alien presents.
Exactly.
Like, you've been doing this Morse code shit to us.
I don't know what's going on here, but
on Stitcher, today they had a story about how scientists have actually successfully created nuclear fusion with laser beams.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's heavy. Yeah.
It was the first time that they were actually able to get certain molecules to compress down and change into helium, a helium atom or whatever. I don't understand it at all.
Jesus, my head hurts now.
It was
Did you see there was a guy who shot Bigfoot in Texas?
And he's hauling them around, right?
Yeah.
So you can see him.
So anyways, not to change the subject.
No,
but, I mean, we're talking about far out shit here.
Segue.
We're talking about far out shit here, so I wanted to,
You know what? I was really excited about the solar thing, but now I want to talk about Bigfoot.
There's pictures online.
What?
Yeah. He supposedly he sent the DNA to a university in Washington to have it checked. Actually, he sent the whole corpse to have it.
Yeah. But supposedly he's a guy who is
like in 2008 he got busted for a hoax.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Like there's major networks covering this shit, and
yeah, but there's major networks covering the fact that the France guy was single.
That's true. That's just very true. But however, I would think that if someone shot Bigfoot, that it'd probably be on like breaking news. I would at least hope that as someone that watches,
if you shot
that
Bigfoot,
show on with,
wouldn't you know it right away? I mean, you wouldn't have to put it. You wouldn't have to send it for lab tests. You would know it right now.
He's the #1 world tracker of Bigfoot, self-claimed. I mean, it's just, anyways. So let's go back to this other thing that seems a little bit more. There's a little bit more
it was kind of
textbook stuff involved with that.
Because it reminded me of what you were saying with the solar stuff, and that scientists are just at the baby steps, and they actually made fusion, but they haven't perfected it yet. They weren't able to get out the same amount of energy output as they put into it. So they put a shit ton of energy into it to make it.
It's not a flux capacitor, is it?
No.
Okay.
But where we're going, we don't need.
Oh God.
What?
That was nice.
I thought it was. I mean, he brought up the flux capacitor.
Hey, I was watching American Pickers the other night, and they were at a farm in Iowa, and they found a goddamn DeLorean in this guy's garage.
Shut up.
And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I so want one of those cars.
And the best thing is, it probably hadn't been driven in like 20 years, but it was spotless because it's stainless steel and it won't rust.
You can get a brand new DeLorean.
They bought it. A company bought them and are making them all electric.
No.
They are.
A company bought out the DeLorean company, and they've been.
When did they actually stop making them, though?
Like 85, 86 when
around when the movie came out was their last production year.
Yeah, because that was when he had all the drug issues and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it's DeLorean did. But he sold it, and I guess they had like just warehouses full of like parts to build it and to maintain them. And so they've been sitting there, and some company, some IPO dude from Silicon Valley bought it. And is making electric cars out of them now.
But how badass, seriously! Like especially with like our generation that's now in their working prime of their life, or let me rephrase that: experiencing midlife crisis, where you want like my dream is to buy a Generally. Like I want a Generally like.
You want the doors welded shut?
I will fly through those fucking windows.
You do live in Iowa.
I know, but I'll park it in the garage and keep the window down so I can dive in the winter. I don't care.
Instead of an auto starter, you have an auto window roller downer.
It's on auto start and it just drops the windows like.
But any retro car, like think about it. I mean, just driving I'm with you. Freaking DeLorean would be badass.
Dude, there was a show that was on and it aired one episode, just one. And the whole show's premise was, we're gonna make muscle cars.
It was one fucking episode.
It was one episode.
Who is the lead singer of Chili Peppers? Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So they made a muscle car for him. One episode.
But pure electric. It was a big 69
4
Camaro.
Grown adults in this muscle car after they switched it over. They bought it. They refurbished it completely.
So the principle was to turn them into electric.
Yeah, and they turned it into an electric car.
Okay.
And they had 4 people in it to deliver it.
69 Camaro.
Oh my God! Seriously?
And they went to deliver this car, and they just fucking smoked the tires. And they're like, "You're not gonna get amazing highway mileage on this, but it's still a fucking muscle car."
But in the quarter mile, you're gonna blow everybody off the line.
And it's fucking electric.
And it was all electric. Yeah,
it was amazing.
But one episode. One episode done.
I would watch that.
Totally. And I remember that episode too because they were trying to get the batteries all lined up correctly. And they crossed the batteries and the whole fucking thing went out.
The owner is like looking back, and now he's looking back at the camera. Now you want to make sure that you don't accidentally hit the wrong post together. And he puts the wires on, wham, and it just explodes. Like, whoa, fuck, like that. Don't do that.
So if you need like a jump start, you need like 5 cars to jump start your car. Or
you might need that solar fucking array.
Yeah, exactly.
You might need
Mojave.
There it is. Electric DeLorean 2013. But
$95,000.
$95,000.
But that's ridiculous. Why did the parts are already...
Hey, you can charge it at the Newbo Market.
There you go. Well, and then you know what?
They got charging stations?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
If you go to Tesla's car, their Model S, which is about $95,000 as well, is state of the art, and it seats 7 because there's 2 in the front, 3 in the middle, and 2 in the trunk facing backwards, like the old,
like a rumble seat,
almost like the old station wagon our parents had.
Yeah,
exactly like that.
I spent my first half of my life seeing where I've been and not where I'm going. Anyway, that's probably why I have such a shitty outlook on life.
You have a great outlook on life.
I'm just kidding.
So where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I have no fucking
I don't know. Wherever I've been, reliving it probably.
I'm going to show you this. Is this car? Look at how fucking gorgeous that car is.
You're talking about the Tesla.
That's the Tesla Model S.
Yeah,
so why wouldn't you just buy the Tesla instead of the fucking DeLorean?
Nostalgia. Well, it'd be nostalgia, but I would buy this before I bought the DeLorean because it's functionally better. There's no dials on this thing. It's got an 18-inch flat screen TV in the middle. That's all touchscreen for everything.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
pretty sick.
That is beautiful.
All right, I got to bring it up since you're bringing up cars.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that it's ridiculous, and it's against the law, right? To text while you're driving, is it against the law?
Yes.
All right.
Calling, though, is not,
You
right?
can
You can call, put it up to your ear, but you can't.
And my kids will even be like, I'll go by somebody and be like, oh my God, what's this person's problem? My kids will go, oh, they're on the phone, Dad. They're on the phone, Dad. That's what's wrong. They're on the phone. And I was like, even my kids know.
Okay.
That's good they recognize that, though.
Yeah.
But the new Mazda commercial, you've seen that, right?
No.
Because on the dash, you got this big LED panel, and you flip. Oh, Facebook.
Oh, DirecTV.
That is one
Facebook. No, in a car?
I am not
It was like a 2-second delay.
I'm not shitting you.
Yeah, it is.
That's on the that's on the major commercial.
Shit.
I'm bringing it up.
Well, and
I'm playing it.
What makes you wonder?
Does it have is the whole front end of that thing like a rubber bumper? Because you might as well just have it like a bumper car.
Well, it makes you wonder. You know how you can't have a DVD player in the front of your car because your car will it won't function in the front of your car while you're driving. A DVD player won't, unless you set one that's built into your stereo. So I wonder if it functions the same way. You can't get on the Facebook on that car unless the car's not moving.
Well, it's the same thing with nav systems. Like a lot of the nav systems in cars that are built in, just from rental cars that I've had, you literally have to pull over and put the car in park. Like if I'm driving in a strange town,
right?
I'm sitting there, I've done it where I'm like going, okay, where am I going? Here's my address, and then it will literally tell you this function is not enabled while the car is in drive.
Oh.
So you have to pull over, park along the side of the highway, and then plug it in. So
and I had a friend. You might have seen this on Facebook. It went viral for quite a bit. It was texting again, and it was a sheriff's car with a dash cam going down the road, and it looked like it was down south, but a little bit of slush. And it was a major highway, but it was 2 lanes going opposite directions, but nothing in the middle, no barrier in the middle. And he's following this black SUV. And you can see it just slowly curving over to the left, right, to cross over the yellow line to go on the traffic. And you see him realize it, and they come back. They lose control on the slush.
Overcorrect.
Bounce off the car next to them and cut straight over into the other lane. And a semi hits them on the front right corner of the SUV, and it explodes.
Seriously,
like into plastic. It just explodes into pieces, and it happens right in the corner of the screen, so you see it go boom, and then it's gone because he's driven by it, right? And thank God it drove by, because who knows how many body parts you would have seen. But you just know that's it. Whoever's in there is done. And that's the scary part, is it's just over so fast. And he said it was texting. They have the person's phone who was texting while they were driving.
All right, here it is.
Facebook. Oh shit! And he's driving down the road. They actually show him driving.
Yeah.
What was Bruce Lee? Was that Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee is being used in a lot of Mazda commercials right now because he's a badass. And so are their cars, except for the Facebook.
So show the 1-inch punch, because that's all I care about right now. No. Why? Why do you need to check Facebook while you're driving? What the hell would
Twitter's right below it.
Groove Salad. I mean, what the hell is that?
Tech Talk.
That's Groove Salad is his own personal, probably.
What?
Oh, now I got
that's
why?
Exactly my point.
Why?
Why would you?
What could not wait?
This is one of my frustrations with automobile industry. We have a speed limit. I can't go. I'm not supposed to go over 75. Pretty much wherever I'm at. Is there anywhere in the United States where I'm supposed to go over?
No, in
75?
Montana they had no speed limit for a while, but they have actually put speed limit on it now.
So why go out of your way and bust your balls to create a vehicle that goes 185 or 200 and some miles an hour? You're never to drive it to that limit. So why create it?
But personal freedom.
But if I'm Facebook, isn't part of Facebook like the appeal of it that there's some level of anticipation? Meaning, hey, you know what? I can't check my Facebook at work because it's a policy, but I really want to know because it's my birthday. How many people wish me a happy birthday when I get home? But if I got it in my fucking car, I mean, like if I'm Facebook, I'm like, I don't want it in cars because like then they're not only do they have it on their phone, so walking to their car to and from work, if they can check it at work, great. They check it at home and in their car. It's like, there's no anticipation, so eventually that would wear off to the point where they're like, Facebook's
my wife
gay,
would never get out of the car.
It's stupid.
We'd be running out of gas constantly. She might asphyxiate in the garage.
Exactly.
You sound like you're making a plan. She might.
I might have to buy a new Mazda. I'm just kidding. I love my wife.
That I saw the exact same commercial because it was on the Super Bowl, and I watched the same thing, and it went by so fast. I was like,
did they show?
I said it to my wife. I said, he was on Facebook. And she goes, no, I don't think so. I'm like, no, that was Facebook. And and to me, it's not disingenuous, but to me, it's irresponsible because in the very least, you could see him at a stoplight. Check the Facebook instead of Facebook and then down a fucking side of the mountain.
Yeah, he's
even at a stoplight,
dude. He's on S curves and like and like the Rockies. I mean, what's going on?
Even at a stoplight or a stop sign, it's fucking stupid. You know what you were saying? It sounded to me because I'm old. Sounded just like people's comments when VCRs came out.
Yeah.
Why do you record a show? So that you can leave the house to get away from shows. And then you come home so that you can watch the show. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about unplugging because I DVR everything almost. I want to say I DVR almost like 99% of the shows I watch. So I can just zip through all the commercials. And I feel like I'm less influenced because I'm not watching commercials all the time.
You really feel less influenced?
I do. Yeah. My sugar addictions are my sugar addictions, and they're all mine. Sweet tarts, whatever. Can you tell me I'm thinking about that today?
Sour Patch Kids.
Your fun dip? Did you have any fun dip today?
I had a fun dip today. As a kid, I love fun dips.
Yeah,
so now they have them for Valentine's. So my kids are getting their Valentine's ready, and they come with little single packets of fun dip that you can put your name on to and from. And so I'm like, oh damn, we have extra. All right, kids.
Because there's a retro candy site that sells like all the Chico sticks and like the candy cigarettes and all the stuff that you can't get anymore in stores. Dude, it's like a website dedicated to just
remember
that
candy
stuff.
Cigarettes?
Chico
candy
stick.
What's that?
Chico stick.
Yes.
Chico stick, whatever.
Yeah.
Chico stick.
Yeah.
I love them.
I know, they're like crack.
Caramel?
Is that
peanut butter?
Is that the exact same inside to a Butterfinger bar?
Pretty much, but it's the whole thing.
It's just that.
How about a Charleston Chew?
Yeah.
I love Charleston Chews.
What was the was it Moo Bars or not Moo Bars, but the ones that were like they had a cow name in it. What the hell was it? They were like a big long piece of taffy, or was that the Charleston Chews?
That was Charleston Chew.
Because it was taffy kind of covered in chocolate. So I remember having one and liking it because it was like a mixture of chocolate and taffy. God. And later on as an adult, it really started grossing me out, the two together. So.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before all this?
I have no
all these
idea.
Fucking
hot rods, cars,
DeLoreans.
DeLoreans.
Hey, are we going to talk at all about the
No, Preston Leathers is oldness. I'm kidding. One more thing that I wanted to hit on was the EU is planning its first GMO crop.
Hold on a second. What's an EU?
The European Union.
Okay.
All the countries are kind of together. All right. They're planning Pioneer 1507 maize. Is maize wheat or corn? It's corn, isn't it?
Maize.
Maize is corn.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And so
it's like the Indian term for it.
Right. And they say that they're planting it, even though a majority of countries don't want it to happen. The big players, like they call them weighted votes, so like Great Britain and Spain want it to happen, and they have a bigger
Monsanto.
Yeah, they have people that are part of Monsanto.
Those guys are dicks anyway, because they did the whole what was it where they burned witches and what was that Dark Ages type thing that Spain was all a part of?
The Inquisition?
Thanks. See, they're dicks. Who gives a fuck what they think?
That was a long time ago. We hope they've evolved, Ted.
You never know.
Well, anyways, so they're they were the big thing. Europe was not going to do GMO foods.
Yeah.
And now they're going to do corn. It's a done deal.
Well, do they really have any say in it anymore now that they started getting GMO food? When they said they didn't want any, then there was a big uproar because all of a sudden, we have a shitload of GMO corn. All of a sudden we have all this genetically modified food. We said we didn't want it. So, I mean, there's really no saying anymore. They got it. Fuck it.
I read that Chick-fil-A is also in 1 to 3 years going to be completely antibiotic free on their chicken.
They say it's going to take a while. There's a great person on Facebook. Her name's The Food Babe.
Is she hot?
She is a really pretty lady.
I would hope.
But she's got incredible smoothie ideas and recipes and stuff like that.
I thought you were going to say
she's the one
breast.
who I actually heard that from. Was
really
because she's been doing all kinds of online petitions and things like that to get people to go, and they said that it's going to take them a while to be able to find a place that can actually fulfill their demand for chicken.
So it makes you wonder if your chicken sandwich then is going to shrink in size, obviously because of that. Or
they just charge us more.
Maybe it should.
Yeah.
Shrink in
but
size.
I'll pay more for a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich I know it's got hormone free. Yeah. Fuck yeah,
I won't.
I'm one of those people that will. It's like same thing.
Even if it's smaller, not as meaty.
Yeah, I'll still
more breading, less meat.
I know you have 2 sons.
Yeah.
And when they get older, they're going to eat you out of fucking house and home. Mm-hmm. So when they go, hey, Dad, let's go to Chick-fil-A. I don't think I can financially swing it this month, boys.
Probably not. I cook all the time just so I can feed these 2 knuckleheads. So. and her. The female knucklehead.
I wanted to talk about this, and you guys keep talking about other shit.
Oh, sorry.
The last time that you were on the podcast, you were going to the Quad Cities, correct?
I was, yeah.
How did that go?
It went really well. Yeah, I made. It was a good day. I mean, from an artisan standpoint, a good day is breaking $300. Mm-hmm. Hey, what the hell for a 4.5, 5 hour show? That's fine with me, better than sitting at home doing nothing on a Saturday. But I think the better part was that I made a lot of, business cards were given out, and there was a lot of people that had unique ideas. Like a couple people wanted custom stuff as far as like refurbishing leather. Like they had an old belt of their grandfather's that had this buckle that they wanted to reincorporate the buckle into a belt with similar styling.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Which is awesome. I mean, they basically wanted me to take what some other leather craftsman had done years ago, duplicate it, and I have, hundreds and hundreds of tools that I could do that, but just put it on a really brand new, hunky, chunky piece of leather,
right,
using the belt that their granddad wore. Awesome, cool, So that's kind of the stuff that they're like those are the little like unexpected things about the artisan side of what I do that are like, I don't know, they make you inspired because it's something new. It's not like manufacturing where you just keep stamping out and pumping out the same thing over and over. You get those little requests that are
like, you can't, not only unique, but it's like,
it's meaningful.
Means a lot.
If I do this for this person, I mean, this really like reconnects them with their granddad who wore this belt for 30 years, so that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what have you been doing up since then? What's it been like? I know you traveled. You spent some time with your lady.
Yeah, and she'll be up here next week. I'm actually and I should probably promote this on the show too if you don't mind. But I'm also on 2 things. So I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus Council 909, the Catholic men's fraternal organization, and we just opened our new headquarters, basically right next door to Mahoney's in the Irish district.
Okay.
So we opened it in time, Lent's coming around the corner, so our fish fries. So if people love fish that are listening and they want to come down for great fish,
we're all over it.
And we have our bar area in our new building is phenomenal. It will compete with any bar in Cedar Rapids.
Which side is it on next to Mahoney's?
If you're facing Mahoney's, it's on the right. It's the old Alliance Insurance, or they did some sort of like claims center.
Okay.
2-story brown brick building, parking lot right there. That's our new Knights of Columbus headquarters. But the other thing that also does is that I'm also on the St. Patrick's Day Parade Society committee, which, we're within a month of the St. Patty's Day Parade here now.
Yeah, you suggested we do a podcast from the parade.
And I can get you guys hooked up on the clamshell that the judges sit on. We can get you like a little table or something set up right there so you can actually broadcast.
I got little tingles.
Yeah, it would be cool if you guys were there. Like it's on a Monday. We always do it on the day of the parade. So I don't know if you get what you guys are doing at 1:00 on Monday the 17th, but maybe
I'll be in full disguise.
Maybe working, but
dude, you could wear like a leprechaun outfit with a beard and a hat. No one would even know who you are.
Exactly.
But couple things I need to announce is that March 2nd at the Knights of Columbus that I had just mentioned is our annual Irish Hoolie. Wild Nep, the local Celtic band, will be playing. Always a good time. It's from 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's $5 for adults, $2 for kids. Great, just tons of raffle prizes, door prizes, silent auction, music, food, drinks, anything you could want as an adult or a kid. It's there to entertain you for 4 hours on a Sunday. That is our big fundraiser, though. Without the Hoolie and the money that we make at the Hoolie, we would probably not be able to put on the parade every year. This is the 39th annual parade. We've been doing it since 77, 78. in Cedar Rapids. The Sapadapaso has. So, and we're one of the few cities in the United States that actually still does the parade on the 17th. So we are adamant about that. That's our history, is that the parade is always on St. Patrick's Day, regardless of the day of the week it falls on. So just a little piece of history there. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So a couple of things I had to pimp out.
That's awesome. I mean, God, I love fish fries.
So keep your Fridays open for Lent, because we have our beer batter is freaking amazing. I can tell you that.
Loved it.
And our homemade coleslaw. If you like coleslaw, you're going to have a tough time finding a better coleslaw than the one we put together.
I have that day off.
Awesome.
Well,
all you got to do, Todd, is ring a ding ding.
Yeah. We'll see how that rolls out.
St. Patty's Day. Are you worried about the disguise thing? Are you
no,
worried about
I'm like, we'll literally have to wear a disguise. I'm not kidding. Like, I have to dress up.
But you know what? Besides Halloween, St. Patty's Day is probably the most dressed up, crazy.
You can. It's all about
Yeah, with crazy sunglasses and
wigs and
suits
and hats.
Wait a second. So Mahoney's is off of
is it E Avenue?
Is that right down the street from Mount Mercy's softball field, kind of in that area?
TikTok.
That's a really nice building.
It's between the TikTok and Mahoney's.
That's a really nice building.
Yeah, it is.
That's really close to where you live.
It is within a 1 block walking distance of my house. Yes. Absolutely.
So keep your Lenten Fridays open, and keep March 2nd open, and you know,
and drinking
and our bar is open pretty much every day of the week. So
really,
and I think that's the good thing too, is that we're obviously a charity that takes the money and puts it back into the community for various causes, and the fact that we're located amongst 3 other Irish bars in that neighborhood, there'll be a lot of symbionts.
Is that a real Irish, like literally an Irish area?
I think it just became that way. Yeah, I don't know that there's any history as far as like Irish immigrants in Cedar Rapids.
Not thought it was an Irish bar.
It's more English. I think they promote it as an English restaurant and bar.
You're the one who said French dip sandwiches at the TikTok, didn't you? Did you say that you ever had a French dip sandwich at the TikTok?
Well, their cheese sticks are like probably the best in Cedar Rapids.
I've been meaning to go down there to try a couple things. I keep hearing about it.
And their barbecue, like their smokehouse, is
the thing's always going.
Yeah,
Jesus.
And that their turkey legs and their pulled pork are
phenomenal.
Yeah, they're really.
So basically, the TikTok is the shit.
Yeah.
Well, for food, I think I'm going to go to this place for some beers, though.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yep.
Well, my mother-in-law who passed away.
Dude, your Jeez Louise thing was killing me when I was editing the last podcast.
Are you going to edit this shit out?
Why? Why would I?
I said "Geez Louise" a lot last night.
Oh, and you sounded. It wasn't just a saying.
Retarded.
No, what you didn't, dude.
George Jefferson.
Jeez Louise.
I don't think it was that bad.
You said it a couple of times, and I thought you sound like such a sweet little boy.
Except for Aaron Bunce's mother-in-law, who thinks I swear too much.
That's true.
She doesn't like
do have a foul mouth.
Yep.
Jeez Louise, dude! No, it's just that saying that kills me. I'm gonna switch
over to like Upsy Daisies or something and make it even worse.
Oopie days,
Oopsie daisies. Oh, did that come out of my mouth? Sorry.
That's awesome. I'm all about promoting that, and
I'm a visual guy, so I was like in my mind going, okay, I think it's here. No, that's not right. And I was like, fuck, it's right next to my house.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
It's right in our neighborhood.
It's on the bike path. It's on the Cedar Valley bike path. I'm going to go right by it every summer. So on my way to driving my bike to Matt's house this summer to do podcasts, I'll be stopping by and having a beer.
That'd be perfect.
And I'm going to say Chuck Cavanaugh said me to come in and have a beer, because I know my money is going to charity.
That's right. That's right.
Mahoney's. No, right here. No, I'm just kidding. Not Mahoney's. I like Mahoney's too, but
cook me some fish.
That's right.
He's so animated right now. Hey, this would actually give us a great step-off point, because we are going to do a live broadcast for the opening.
It's not going to be live.
The grand opening.
It's going to be a video recording.
To say live.
It's not. You're right. It's not live, but it's our first kind of video recording.
Yeah.
Our goal, Chuck, is that Matt spends a lot of time in the editing booth, so we're thinking of a way to make him. I personally would like. He doesn't. I think he's doing a great job. I personally like him. I want him out of the editing booth and not spending so much of his fucking free time taking care of this thing. So we're gonna videotape. It's not going now.
Nice.
But we're going to videotape. And so the first time, so we have a month or so before Nick Rosine's new gym opens, and we're going to do a video podcast from there. Do a Q&A with people, just kind of be there to talk about it. Then we're going to post it and start doing it solely on YouTube and for the podcast on iTunes and see how it goes.
Really?
Yeah, and then when you videotape everything, I just kind of want it to be
So can I put in a request that you guys, when I do my web launch, you guys do a live video cast?
Yeah.
From there?
Oh, we're all over it.
I'm thinking about doing it from the new video auditorium in the downtown library. I don't know if you've seen that or been.
I haven't been there yet.
It's phenomenal,
unreal, and it's
beautiful.
It's like nothing to rent it. Like you check it out like a library book. Basically, there might be a little fee. But they literally have like a drop-down screen, a projector.
Is it the big
surround? Yeah, surround sound. There's a podium.
Where the screen drops down, if you sit in a chair and you look at it, if the screen's up, you can see the entire green square part. Yep. It's like ceiling to floor, 20-foot windows. It's beautiful.
But when the screen drops, the lights the windows have this automatic like Star Trek like tint to them. So they tint down to darken the room. It's crazy. Oh. But
I'm telling you,
it's a perfect place for like a website launch. So to watch my video, which hopefully you guys will watch here in a little bit, in surround sound with people that, and a nice selection of invitees. Hopefully I can fill the place up. I hope I have that much people that respect what I do on the weekends.
Hey, you know people, and I know people, and you know people.
Yeah.
So,
I only know one or two.
So, and I plan on doing a raffle just to bring people in case those people that are on the fence might go, oh, well, I guess if I can get a watch and a drawing, maybe I'll come. But, just to help fill the place. But
with the video that we're going to be, I thought about going to Kirkwood and seeing if there was talking to some of the instructors or professors and saying, do you think it'd be a good idea to offer somebody an internship?
Oh.
To say, here's a 6-month thing. Here's a semester-long project.
For credit.
Yep. At the Primal Scream.
Yep.
And your job is you're in charge of the audio-visual. That's your gig.
I like that.
I mean, I think the best thing about that is that kids are getting out of college. They don't have any practical. You fill out a resume for somebody. They go, "Do you have any experience doing this?"
Yeah.
No, just classes. Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, I did the Primal Scream for 6 months, and we took the viewership from this to this.
Right.
Or
even if you didn't,
it's measurable.
Even if you didn't, you helped us get started. I helped a
startup podcast,
an international podcast start up, and I helped them get all these things set up. Here's their phone number, and we would be able to be willing to promote them. I think either way, even if we didn't have some huge growth,
they have references.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's great.
So
it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah,
do that.
That's a great idea.
But with the video, we're hoping to do up the room a little bit, and we want to start having visual advertisement
sponsorship
for people.
Yes.
Yeah, sponsorship.
No,
but we want to have
memorabilia of people who have been on the show.
That's actually what I'm getting at.
Okay,
yeah, memorabilia.
I'm glad I can boil it down to a good sauce for you.
Was I doing the haymaker thing again?
No, it was a little more direct. It was it wasn't quite the 1-inch punch, but it was somewhere.
Oh, have you seen that video of the 1-inch punch?
Yes, it's crazy.
Oh, fucking love that Bruce Lee video.
Yeah.
He's got his fingers like that. Boom! The guy fucking flies backwards in the chair. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so much. I saw a poster that said, how come there are so many Chuck Norris jokes and there's no jokes about Bruce Lee? At the bottom of the poster it said, because Bruce Lee's no joke.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah. I hate Chuck Norris. He's nothing compared to Bruce Lee.
That's not nice.
You're right. He's probably a wonderful person. I don't care for Chuck Norris as an actor or a political.
He was great in Missing in Action. And Missing in Action 2.
And Missing in Action 9.
And all those other ones.
Walker, Texas Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch.
I don't think I ever saw one episode of that show.
I was just going to say I didn't watch a single.
But it was on for a while.
Yeah, it was. And what was that? The Big Bang Theory. Everybody talks about the Big Bang Theory, and the actor in there's got Emmys and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen that show either. Have you ever seen that comedian, the Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
I haven't watched either. So
there you go.
Learn something new every day.
Okay, so memorabilia, We want to get we're
thinking about some floating shelves in here. Aaron Bunce, when he publishes his book, he's going to get us a dust cover and sign it. We're going to frame it, put that on the wall. We'd like to just start getting things from people because you're part of what we are.
No, we could do. We could take his business card and we could turn it into a
poster size,
like a actual card, like really large card.
That's a great idea. A poster size of it. That's a great idea.
I have a vinyl banner that I don't use anymore that I used for some of my shows early on. It's like an 8-foot banner.
Oh, God damn it. Is this a custom leather show? Or is this the Primal Scream podcast?
Hey, you're asking.
Fucking banner.
It's free.
I'm just saying.
It would fit perfectly where this blanket is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a great idea. It'd be perfect.
It's like 8 foot by 3 foot. Well, maybe 6 foot. But it'd fit between that door and there and above the light switch. I mean, come on.
There you go. And what is good, it's like...
it has a couple of very good-looking tattooed women on it, so...
I'll put it behind me because Todd is, like I said, a little fearful of being seen. I don't care because I'm ugly and I've come to terms with it.
I'm not fearful of it. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I understand.
But what I'd like, though, is we can have his banner up. That doesn't mean that we can't put things... If we put a shelf on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I put a shelf. I even thought about having an American flag in here. And putting things, having things a floating shelf in front of it as well.
I know I'm being selfish. I'm just
just fucking promote.
I'll donate product.
We love your stuff. We're all over it.
Or a shelf with my product, even with like little arrows in the video that point down and just like put the price. click here. That like with a hyperlink to my website where you could actually buy it.
The intern is going to be really.
He's going to be busy. And I've already got ideas. And I'm
already kind of thinking maybe we're going to female intern.
This is no longer a podcast. It's now a brainstorming session.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm writing this down.
Email us your ideas for the Primal Scream.
They might quit. They might quit after a week. We've thrown out so many ideas here in the last few.
Would you guys just fucking pick one? God damn it.
What should the criteria be? If we were to go up and say, hey, would you like to be an intern on here? What do they have to be able to put up with?
Listen, I am feeling passionate enough about this, and this is becoming important enough to me that I'm not just gonna. I think back in the day I might have been like, oh, just find somebody who fucking knows how to do this and do that. Now I'm thinking I don't want to have anybody who's just going to kind of half-ass something. I want somebody who really wants to build something. You actually never know how
it could turn out. You could get somebody for an internship, which could turn into a full-time gig if and when they do such a good job. We bring in a ton of sponsors.
It's like the girl that's the desk clerk on Pickers. I mean, she makes that show.
Oh, Danielle.
Yes.
Love her.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for her, I mean, yeah,
it's a cool show.
It's cool to watch two guys that are from Iowa go pick through stuff, but then you got her who's like this sassy.
She actually on the side does what's that old French kind of dancing cover? Starts with a B.
Burlesque.
Burlesque. Yes.
She does burlesque dancing in Chicago and here. What time?
And we don't live that far away.
We don't live that far away. And every summer I've been thinking, you know what? On a day that I'm not over here with you and your kids, I'm like, I think I'm gonna grab my kids and go. It's an hour and a half away from here. I should totally just go and walk around inside that store and see something. I still watch that show because I love it because they are from Iowa.
Yeah,
and I see like metal signs that they find that are just really super unique and different. And I'm like, oh God, that'd be great for our room.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd fit right there. Right? I think about it all the time. I think about this space all the time.
You know what I like about that show is them going into some dilapidated old house or building that time has forgotten about. Nobody is even looking at. It's all covered in weeds, and it's like this treasure trove.
Yeah,
it's like why hasn't anybody walked through that door in the last 50 years?
Right.
Well, to me, it was one of the first episodes I saw, and they met some farmer in Northeast Iowa, and the guy walks out, just typical stereotypical farmer with his farmer hat on. He's shuffling about a mile an hour down the walkway because he can't move much faster than that. He's about 75. He's like, if you want to go in my barn, we can do that. And so they go in the barn and they go through. How long has this been here? This stuff hasn't moved probably in 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally is that old. And then they said, hey, what's back here? He goes, oh, well, that's my personal space.
That's where Christ is buried.
One of the guys, Mike, I think the guy Mike on the show goes, well, we don't need to go look. He's like, no, you can go back there and look, right? They walk into it's this small little shop. on the wall. It's a samurai sword, right? And it's like, well, that's neat. Where'd you get that from? I got that when I walked into Hiroshima. After we dropped the bomb, we had to go in as troops and look for survivors and look for people who made it. I found it laying on the ground, and I stuck it in my pants pocket. And it's hanging on his fucking wall.
Yeah.
So not only is it a unique thing anyways,
world
history. As a sword, it's a neat sword. It's literally made in Japan,
irradiated.
but it's also historically extremely significant. And so they actually bought it off him. He's like, I don't have any use for that anymore.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then they went out and they took it in. So it was an actual real samurai sword, and when the World War II happened, they started having their soldiers carry them, but they're just too long. So they went into the handle and cut the handle in half and rewrapped it so it was a little bit smaller and easier to carry. It wasn't sticking out so far. Yeah, exactly. And so it still had the Japanese scratch into the part of the handle that was left there from the original maker of it. And so they took it to some historian, and I think they gave it to a museum or something like that, because they've done that a couple of times in that show. But one of the cool parts is they came out and there's a bunch of saddles sitting on a fence post, and they all look like shit. They're just covered with dust and pitch and shit and everything else. He goes, how much will you give me for that last saddle? And the old man's like, oh, give me $75, $100. And he's like, no, I'll give you about $300 for that saddle.
Yeah.
I won't give you any less than that. He's like, why? And he goes over, and every piece of metal on it is sterling silver.
Yeah.
And it's an old workman's saddle from like the way back in the day when a cowboy actually was herding cattle and stuff like that. So it was a workman's saddle, but like top of the line.
Plus the maker stamps too. I mean,
right,
like with old saddles, it's no different than just finding like a historic pair of shoes by a really good designer. You know, it's like kind of the same thing. It's like there's the appeal of.
I love history first of all, but I like Iowa history. Yeah. And when they bump into shit like that, it just takes you back like, oh my god! And at the same time, like you said, it's been sitting there forever, and nobody knew about it. Like when they find like John Deere bicycles, they'll find a sprocket with a pedal post sticking off of it. I'll give you $100 for that. It's fucking sitting on a pile of junk. Yeah. And the guy's like, okay. And he's like, I'll take that thing right there as a collectible item for somebody, because they don't make John Deere bicycles anymore. I don't know how we got off on this, but that show is phenomenal.
Yep.
I think it's neat as hell.
What do you think? What could you make for us, I wonder, that we could have on the wall? What kind of leather good could he make? If we asked him, we commissioned him to make us something.
Well,
do you guys have an official logo yet?
Well, we have this screaming gorilla. We have like a screaming gorilla. I'll show you.
I saw it on the
Okay, that's kind of it, but
TPSP could be it as well.
But even just I mean, if you had like a logo or something, I could do like a framed, like carved piece of leather with the logo work, or
it's me excited.
Or just two like kick-ass watches that every time someone sees you go, oh, I'm going to take a drink of this, and
look what time it is. Let me look at my.
I'll say that. If you have listened to our podcast, at the beginning of every one of them, I'm like, it's February something.
Yeah.
Let
me check my watch. Yes.
Oh, that could be a great promo spot. Oh, what time is it? I never know the time. Why don't you check your Preston Leather watch and tell us what time it is? Oh, it's 9:00 and it's February 19th.
Perfect. I love it.
Thank God for Preston Leathers. Otherwise, I wouldn't know the date today.
Thank God for that.
I mean,
I know the laptop's there.
I know for sure that I want to get a cuff that has that iPod Nano clip into it.
Yeah.
Because that was an easy watch to do. Yeah. I like that watch. It's really cool. And if I knew it was in something unique, I'd wear it all the time.
Do you already have that?
I gave it to my son. Junior had it his senior year of high school, and it was stolen. Because they actually make watch bands for those for that reason, right?
Yep.
And so for Christmas, I gave him my iPod Nano and got him a new metal band for it to clip into, and it was stolen like that. So and he was irresponsible. However you want to look at it.
However,
I made one for my brother for his birthday.
Really?
I bought him a Nano, and I made the cuff for it. So
I need to get.
Awesome.
I think I would like to have something that has the Primal Scream on it.
Would it be too much if I asked him to make me a big thick choker
with studs, TPS, like a dog collar,
instead of a neck tattoo?
Yeah.
You could wear that around.
What time is it?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't put my head down to look.
We're filming the new Mad Max movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rise above others.
Ayatollah of rock and roll.
Nice. God, I love that movie.
I love the banner.
Just walk away. Just walk away. All you need to do is walk away. I love that movie.
God, that was the shit.
Yeah,
it was so much better than the first one. Mad Max was like, it was okay. It was unique and different. But fuck, that second one was just, I don't know. Those movies were.
There was a Where Are They Now of the feral boy. Remember the little feral kid with the boomerang?
Yeah. That jumped down in the hole.
Yeah, and just did the backflip and then he threw the little metal boomerang and
chopped that guy's fingers off.
Yeah, it was
I remember
awesome.
seeing that going, that's so gross.
And then I watched it like 20 more times.
Exactly.
So where is he now?
He's probably Australian, I bet.
He is, and what the hell did they say he's doing now? He's like a
gymnast?
No, he works for like a publishing company or something. I don't know. It was just something. I mean, just he didn't go on.
Regular guy.
Yeah, he didn't go on to acting. He didn't pursue acting after that.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of acting done for him.
There wasn't.
But a lot of grunting.
But damn, he played a great feral boy or feral kid. I mean,
yes, he did.
But I remember
almost
when I saw Mel Gibson in that movie, locked me in. I was like, from that point on, everything he was in, I just loved him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care how big an asshole he is. You know.
Yeah.
Again, when you talk about actors or somebody who are assholes, with a grain of salt, you have to think about all the shit that they have to deal with paparazzi.
Oh yeah.
All that.
It's got to harden you in a weird way.
You would we watched a movie called Celebrity, SELL. It was on I think it was on HBO. And we've talked about this a whole bunch of times, but the first 5 minutes of the thing is this crowd of people with cameras around an individual, but you can't see who the individual is because there must be 50 people around her clicking and scrap. I mean, just like craziness. And all of a sudden, like you said, it stops and it says Jessica Simpson with an arrow pointing at this little bit of blonde hair you can see. And that's how the movie starts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would imagine that, I don't know. You had to be an adult to think that so for some reason I got cast to be in a movie and I became a movie star overnight, I would want to have you around me. Do you know what I'm saying? You would ground me and say, stop being a cock and do this instead, or let's go here and do this, because you would keep me grounded. But I know enough now as an adult to make that choice.
You would really want me around you?
Oh yeah. If I was 18.
But no matter that, though, you're still going to have the people that will find. I mean, especially in today's world, they're going to find you, no matter how private and grounded you want to be, by surrounding yourself by the people that are that are the non influences on sending you down a bad path. I mean, how hard is it to get on the internet and find out where you live and then stalk you outside of your brick wall fortress that you have and just zoom in with my telephoto lens? I guess I was thinking take pictures of
somebody who grounded me, somebody who'd be like, "Oh, who cares? Who fucking cares?" And just kind of keep things mellow, because it is so. I can only imagine how horrible.
What were you and I watching before Chuck showed up? Comedians driving cars, getting coffee.
Oh, comedians and cars getting coffee with.
Is that the Seinfeld thing? Yeah, I saw
the last one we watched was. Howard Stern.
Yeah. And what I got from that, there's constantly, every time you look, there is somebody filming them.
Yeah.
There is some spectator or a group of spectators, normally it says group of people, just standing there staring.
Yeah.
And they're just standing there talking to one another. And that shit would get old.
Oh, I know.
Really quick.
I mean, you're standing there, you scratch your nose,
yeah,
and they snip out that piece of the video, and now all of a sudden you're picking your nose and people. You know,
I think you'd have to be like a practicing Buddhist Zen person. You have to get to a point where nothing else. It just doesn't matter what you see on TV about yourself, or you read about yourself, or what's happening around you. Just doesn't matter unless it's with the people that you care about. You know what I mean? You have to get to a point like
Kevin Costner or Harrison Ford that were just like, I'm going to buy a ranch and I'm going to live there. And it's away from everything. I'm not going to live in Hollywood.
Who's the guy who's the big anti-fracking guy that is an actor? He plays the Hulk in the new Avenger movies.
Oh,
isn't that your buddy?
My buddy?
No, never mind. There's
Mark
Ruffalo. Good.
Yeah. Hey, great.
Mark Ruffalo. So he lives in somewhere like in a farm in Connecticut. He only picks certain movies to do because he does not want to be involved with that culture at all. So that's one way of removing yourself. And he says he goes to the local hardware store and he does, because he's just not known as the actor of Mark Ruffalo there. He's just a guy who lives in the town, But again, our wives get sucked into that shit. I mean, that stuff's only gonna increase because people are interested in watching it. Kim Kardashian's only popular because she had a sex tape. That's it. I mean, that's the core essence of it. And I think that's why
she took it like a champ.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah,
that was great.
So
I do think, you know what though? I think that's why it's important that when you do meet people who are famous, that you do just treat them as a person. It's hard because you have seen them on TV or in a movie, but they're just another guy. Yeah. They're just another person. Yeah. You met, we talked about this in the last podcast, Patrick Monahan.
At Starbucks at the San Francisco airport.
Yeah, that's my wife's favorite singer from Train.
And it was the same day I saw you guys.
On the plane, And so that's Amy's. She would be like, she wouldn't know what to say to her, to say to somebody like that. But I think if you can really ground yourself and say, it's just another person. And then, hey, I really like what you do. Your music's incredible, or I love your movies, and just be honest about that. I think that they probably appreciate things like that. Yeah. But, I've seen
secretly, taking a picture.
Pictures through a side window of Ashton Kutcher and Mia, what's her name that he's dating?
Kutcher? No, Mia
Kunis. Yeah. Through a window at an ice cream parlor. Oh, look who I saw today, and I was like, that would.
Well, especially when they come to Iowa, though. I mean,
but that would drive me crazy.
Yeah, I bet you want to come back to Iowa.
I bet you just came and said, "Hey, I love your acting, good job, thank you," and walked away. That would be much better than be like, "Fuck, more cameras snapping."
Stalking,
just be honest.
Speaking of him, I just recently saw the movie.
Jobs.
Movie? Thank you, Jobs. Yeah.
What do you think?
It made me think that Steve Jobs was a huge asshole, but he was a genius that really wanted to create something worthy. And I thought Ashton Kutcher did a great job.
So did I
in the movie, and it was what I like is I like seeing actors do something that is completely different than what they've been doing.
I think the bad part for him in that role, it was like Robert Downey Jr. playing Chaplin. It's like Robert Downey Jr. was made to play that role. They look identical.
Visually,
I think Ashton Kutcher does a great job acting like Steve Jobs. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the hype is too much. Like, oh, here's the perfect person. Here we go. It's going to be a great movie. And the hype is bigger than what they build it up too much. But I thought he was good in it too.
See, I thought
it was out of the movie theaters in a week. It got nothing.
I thought every actor that was in that movie was whoever did the casting for that movie did an amazing job. Because at the end, they're like, here's the actor, and here's the real person that they were portraying. And I thought, holy fuck, they are identical. Mm-hmm. Every single person was just spot on awesome.
Yeah, I agree, totally. So, I was bummed, because when I saw that, I thought, oh, wow, I'm going to learn more about this. And I was waiting to see it in the theater. And then I was like, wait a second, what happened to that movie? And then next thing I know, it was gone. And on DVD, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So it didn't do very well. I wonder why.
Well,
and
The Matrix didn't do very well in the movie theater either.
Oh,
but that's a cult classic.
Wow. There you go. And again, we saw the movie after it was in the theaters, and I thought it was a great movie too. So
Jobs movie. The Jobs movie was, and it was neat to think it wasn't that long ago that we didn't have even color monitors. It wasn't just not flat monitors. It was big boxy monitors that it was just like two-toned green.
Yeah.
Right.
Nasty.
Well, and I think that one of the good things that the movie doesn't talk about, I don't think, is that knowing people who are autistic or have Asperger's, they really do have really a hard time. Social parts of their lives are the most difficult part. And they can come across as extremely rude and extremely brutal.
Did Steve Jobs have Asperger's?
He was never. I don't think he's ever diagnosed. And I'm just saying that but people who are in technology very often have Asperger's, kind of like, issues, because they're very task oriented. They buckle down, they do one thing, and they get interested in one thing, and they get fucking great at that one thing.
And their social skills are
they don't have social skills. And so when I see him, I almost see him as almost like the perfect mix. Like, yes, he was a dick, but you can talk to any CEO business person who's fucking hardcore and believes in what they believe in, and they could be considered a dick because they are passionate about what they believe in. I see him as being that way. I see him as being a little Asperger's-ish because his social skills aren't that great, but he was a genius. I mean, he was an absolute genius. And what I think is even better is that the after effect of him, the guy who he hired to design the first Apple iPod, right, the start of the whole thing, decided to get out and said, I'm done with Apple. I'm going to start my own business. And he started that Nest. Nest, N-E-S-T. Have you seen that thermometer that you can buy for your house?
Oh, no.
It's a house. I'm sorry, it's not a thermometer. Thermostat.
Yeah.
But it looks first of all like an iPod, and it's got a silver outside rim to it. It's got a digital readout, and you spin it one way or the other. And when you get down below a certain level, it turns blue for cool. And when you go up another level, it turns red for heat, right? And it's super smooth and sleek, right? And I want to say Google just bought it for like $3 billion. And all the guy did was design a new thermostat. And what happened was he was building a house, and he said he was building a state-of-the-art house for himself, right? He was a gazillionaire, left Apple, was living his life. And the guys came to him and said, these are your thermostats. And he said it was like the monitors from the old computers. They're all these beige-looking pieces of shit. I didn't want that, so I designed my own. And you can go to Best Buy or anywhere, Google it. They're sick. And the best part about them is that they're Wi-Fi. So if you're coming home,
you can send them from your smartphone.
You can get on your phone. You can say, you know what? It's fucking freezing in Iowa, and I'm flying in from San Francisco.
Make it red.
Boop, boop, boop. It's 65 in my house instead of 60 or 70 because we're all stingy. Yeah. And when you get home, the thermostat's turned up. And it's super easy to use. It's not all these buttons and shit on and off, all this kind of stuff. And you spin it. Your fingers rub around the outside. You don't spin it literally. Your fingers rubbing the outside turn it up and down. So there's no moving parts. And then you click it, and it sets the time. And the temperature. They're really beautiful. I mean, they're really beautiful.
And that's the guy who left Apple.
And he's the one who's designed the first iPod. Remember the old white thing with the circle that you could rub? And, yeah.
Oh my God! Seriously.
Isn't that neat? I mean, I think that Steve Jobs deserves credit for bringing in the right people to do some of those things.
Yeah, and if that movie is in any way representative of him, if it was, because I don't know him, I don't know him. Maybe it's completely off, but if it was right on, man, what an era! What an amazing thing to be a part of, because it has changed everyone's life. When you
talk about just talk about music, think about iTunes.
And MP3s. All by itself. Yeah. And when he's listening to a CD player, and they're asking.
I love that part.
They're asking him to come back in to be part of Apple and CEO, basically. And he's sitting there listening. He's like, "Oh, this piece of shit," and he throws down his CD player. And I'm thinking, "There's your inspiration for MP3s or whatever." It was just, it's neat to think that it wasn't that long ago, and none of this shit was here,
dude.
But think about us, though. I mean, we've like our generation has lived through like vinyl, 8-track, vinyl and 8-track at the same time, cassettes, the onset of CDs, and now MP3s. I mean, that's pretty much every format that music could be captured in. We've lived through.
Your first Walkman. Think about your first Walkman.
Oh yeah, how awesome!
I remember when I loved
boombox. My first boombox. Walking down the street like I was totally ghetto in my Norwich Park.
Could you carry a boombox on your shoulder?
Yo, totally.
Be honest.
Oh no, I did. Yeah, I'd shout at the devil playing with Motley Crue. I'd walk around the neighborhood and people think I was a Satanist. I was a Catholic school kid. It was awesome.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I remember when I got another Walkman that was almost, it was very cool because it's almost the exact same size as the cassette itself. It popped out, I put the cassette in, and it closed, and it was so small, and I was like, oh my God.
So tiny. I can put it in my pocket.
I can almost put it in my
pocket without, I'm going to have to cut a few stitches.
And now, I actually thought about that today because we were looking at these, possibly getting a video camera. And this guy said the best thing you can get are these HD pocket camcorders now, and they're like $100.
They got the USB built in.
Yeah. And so I was like, it's the same size as a Walkman.
Yeah.
And it does high def recording. You know, and
you can dump it in like 2 seconds too.
Yeah. And when you think about when they say how fast technology, exponentially gets bigger and bigger, when you can look back on just music alone, it makes you go, oh well, yeah, you're absolutely right.
In my lifetime, we've witnessed pretty much every form of music.
And you wonder, like my dad. My dad talks about going to a friend's house on the block that got the first TV. And so it's this huge fucking wooden thing with this small little 10-inch black and white screen. And there was like 3 shows that played.
And then,
and he remembers that was being like it was like, oh my God, look what's happening. And he saw the first moon landing on a TV. That whole thing happened. He remembers watching that at the same neighbor's house. And now I mean, he bought a flat screen TV not long ago, and it's be a good question to ask him of when you were a kid that happened, and the other day you bought a flat screen TV for your house.
Yeah,
what
was going through your head?
Did you ever stop and say, "Holy shit! I just bought a piece of plastic that's 2 inches thick and weighs 20 pounds, and I can hang it on my wall."
Yeah. Well, I think,
and it has the best, and it looks like I'm looking through a window and through the outside because it's so clear.
Well, I think there's a reason why when guys walk through Best Buy or any electronics store, our jaws drop and we're like, "Oh my God!"
They make them that big.
It's amazing. I walked through Best Buy a couple weeks ago and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you kind of point me in the right direction?" And this sales associate started telling me about all the different laptops, and I thought, fuck?
Yeah.
How does that rate with the one I have right now? And they're like, he almost laughed.
You poor little bastard.
Let me think about it. I'm going to go walk over and stand next to this 80-inch TV and get irradiated for a while. I got my SPF 60 on. I'm going to go.
But that, again, I'll pull it full circle. I don't think to this day you can beat an Apple computer. I'll give them shit about their phones.
Actually,
but their computers, you can't get past their computers. I've never had a problem.
Apple, what was it? I think there was a headline today that said Apple sold more computers last year than all other PCs combined.
Really?
All of the PC brands combined.
And they're twice as much, if not 4 times as much.
And after watching that show, I'm thinking, and that's why they're so expensive.
I converted in 2009 from PC to Apple, and I will never ever go back.
Well, I grew
besides my work one that's like issued to me, but like for home use, I will never.
Well, to me, it's just
zero problems. Zero problems with a Mac.
Listen, I had one of those Macs. It was an iMac that had the little white dome as the base that had a CD thing that went into it, and it had a yellow chrome. The monitor could go back and forth. We had that for 10 years, and the only reason it stopped is because my beautiful youngest decided to jam pennies into the CD part of it, and they all went in there and fell down inside and fucking fried it. And so it was a done deal, and I actually felt bad getting it because, first of all, it was so goddamn pretty to look at. It was a beautiful computer, but then I was like, but I didn't want to let it go because up to that point, it still functioned perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you, I've had a work computer that is 8 years old. It's a Mac. And Junior used it in high school to finish high school, and now both my kids use it to do things on. And it's almost
just
10 years old.
It's just as relevant. It's just as relevant as
the Wi-Fi works perfect. It's a piece of cake.
Yeah. The sales associate was saying, okay, I asked him, I'm like, well, how does these that you're showing me compare to the Apple stuff over there? And he goes, well, I'll tell you, if you get 16 gigs of RAM on these laptops over here, it will run about as well as 8 gigs on an Apple because the Apple memory and the way their software runs, it's so much more efficient. It uses everything so much better. So when you get 16 gigs of RAM in an Apple, you're like, woo.
Well, and even from a virus standpoint, they've always said that they don't, it's just the fact that there's in the entire world, there's probably more PCs out there, so why would a hacker waste his time writing viruses that are going to attack, the Mac operating systems when it's going to hit such a smaller group than if I release it on the masses that have PCs. So it's almost like I hate to say you're safer buying it, but your likelihood of attack is probably less because the hackers and the people that do those,
Well, you have that aspect, and you also have the aspect of all the apps that you can download for your Mac is only created by Mac people to work with the Mac. And when you get Windows stuff, it could be any
Tom, Dick, or Harry
that creates it, and you have no idea how you actually introduce that application into your Microsoft laptop, and you're like, shit don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Why is it that every time I get on the internet, porn pops up?
I think pop-ups alone are a reason why I would buy an Apple.
Yeah.
You don't get them.
Yeah.
Nothing can illegally download onto your computer. It's going to lock it up and get rid of it. I've told you this many a times over the years. I've never had an Apple freeze up on me and stop.
I haven't either.
No, that's not true. I had it happen one time, and that's because I'd never turned it off. It was like it had been 2 weeks. I've been using it continuously. When it needed charging, I just plugged it in. I never turned it off and let it calm itself down, so to speak,
and reboot.
Yeah. And so when I finally did that, it was a piece of cake. And so I was like, okay, every couple of days I just better shut it down and let it chill. Wow, he jerked off Steve Jobs quite a bit there.
And he's dead. That's really gross.
Jerk off a dead guy?
Hey, man, you said it, not me.
Contradictory. I'm not sure if that works.
Dude, what's the next thing with Rise Above Leathers?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Well, the funny part is you've been talking about Knights of Columbus and St. Patty's Day, which is all wonderful stuff, but what about you and what you're doing?
The next big so when I started this, and still kind of my fundamental things that I'm going to offer on my website: belts, cuffs, watches, guitar straps. I mean, those are like the 4 big things that I feel really good when I make them. I've in the last 3 years I've become an expert in making those things. Like I don't think if someone came to me and asked me for one of those 4 things, I couldn't make them what they wanted. But then I got into the whole, and I think we talked about it a little bit the last time, was conceal and carry holsters.
Right.
So what's developed since the last time I was on here is that a friend of mine who teaches the conceal and carry courses also sells at the Hawkeye Downs gun shows. And he's going to start selling Glocks. So we kind of hit this thing off where I had a few holsters made for Glocks, gave them to him. They sold. Just
boom, done.
Gone. So he's like, make me a dozen. The next show, which is in the first weekend of March, he said, I'm just going to give you a whole section of my tables, because by then he'll be hopefully selling his Glocks, and then he'll say, okay, you just purchased a firearm from me. How would you like to have a locally made custom holster to carry it in?
Is it in the band holster? Is it out of the band holster?
It's inside the waistband. Yeah.
Inside the waistband.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I make is the ones that, right now, if someone asked me, can you make one outside, I probably would, but I think right now, what I've done so far that's sold pretty well, that people seem to like, because people still like the discreetness of not having it bulgy and bulky and on their hip where everybody can see it. And they're comfortable. Like I have one for myself. I'm not wearing it tonight, but I mean, it's like even when you're driving in the car, you don't feel it there. When you get out and walk around, you don't feel it. So I think what I have is a pretty good fit functionally. But that's kind of the big thing that, when I started this a few years ago, I never would have thought that I'd be making these. But then I just challenged myself. I was like, and I could probably do that. And I watched a few videos on YouTube and read a couple articles, bought this, $20 worth of supplies and made a couple. I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then asked a price, and they sold at that price. So I'm like, well, all right, well, we're on to something here. And so, so in the March gun show at Hawkeye Downs, I'm going to have hopefully a dozen by then out there, different colors.
I've never been to a gun show. Maybe I'll come out when you're out there.
It's crazy. Well, that's a good thing is that, even if I, with my friend being that it's his booth, he's going to be out there for 3 days. Even if I can't be out there for all 3 days, he's committed to helping me kind of get this started. So it's like,
that's awesome.
And you said that's the first weekend in March, March.
I think it's the first, second, or
first and second.
First and second. Actually, I think it starts Friday. 28th. It's Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
Yeah,
I might go Sunday because the Maple Syrup Festival.
Don't do that.
Nature Center.
Oh, see, I want to go to
Saturday.
And
my kids love that.
I love maple syrup. I'm like Buddy the Christmas.
Go Friday night
I love maple syrup.
Me too.
Is there sugar in maple syrup? Then yes.
I went out there not long. You can still buy it right now, and they have this huge jug of it. And I thought, hell, I'll just buy a gallon of it. $80. I was like, maybe I'll buy the smaller one. I love maple syrup, but not quite that much.
Yeah,
my kids eat the shit out of Eggo waffles.
She was like, well, it actually works out to be this much it costs. I'm like, yeah, that's why you buy the smaller bottle, because you can't afford the big one right away.
So, little crystal.
Hey, kids.
Crystallized by the time. Yeah.
It'd be sweet to dump a big jug of
just take your Eggo waffle and dip it in the 5-gallon bucket.
Hey, so you like my maple syrup though?
Yeah.
So Quebec City, I went up with my fiance to a trip up there, and there's this little island in the river that borders Quebec City. I'm trying to think of the island name, but anyways, it's like a really big maple, these old turn of the century maple factories on this little wooden barns basically that they still make maple syrup, and they tap the trees, pull it out. So we went on this little snowmobile ride, and we got to stop in these little maple syrup huts. And what they do is, it's like the wooden planters that you plant flowers in the summer.
Yeah.
They fill those up with snow, because there's like 20 feet of snow up there at this time of the year. They fill it up with snow, and then they go and tap the maple syrup right out of the trees into like this bucket, and they heat it up over fire and kind of melt it. And then they take their fingers and they draw these little slots in the snow, and then they pour the maple syrup in the slots. So it's like a strip of maple syrup, and then they hand you a wooden popsicle stick, and you roll up the fresh maple syrup and you eat it like a sucker. And it is seriously, it is like crack. It's like it is like legal crack. I must eat like 50 of these frickin' things.
Orleans Island.
Is that what it is?
Right?
Right outside of Quebec City, probably. Yes,
yeah. Orleans Island.
Yes. It's phenomenal. It's like
that's neat.
So much good history, like really cool. Like, but yeah, it's like just this mecca of maple syrup, and obviously Canada's kind of known for the maple syrup. But like, oh my god, yeah. Because I was drunk by this point in time too, so it was like,
it's the greatest sucker I've ever had in my life, man.
I'll do another one.
Pour me another one. Yeah.
Put your sucker in your beer.
Pour another one, eh? Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, little side
Quebec
story.
City, that's good though.
So maybe,
dude, this is why we like this podcast.
Yeah,
that's neat information. That's
and actually, that's one of the only fortified cities in North America to this day. The whole city is surrounded in a wall with cannons still.
Oh, shit.
Pretty sure it's the only one in North America. But it's an odd, like, if you want to go to Europe without going to Europe, go to Quebec City, because it's pretty cool. Yeah. I actually had a really good time there.
And I might have to do that.
And in Canada, right?
Yeah, I went there during their...
I feel like George W. Bush.
I went there during
Canada.
I went there during their Winterfest, and their Winterfest is like their big, like, it's crazy. Like, they've got ski jumps set up along the interstate. They've got their bobsledding down the streets in the city. I mean, it's fucking nuts. But like, and people are partying. You can walk
a party town.
During this Winterfest, it is. I mean, they build like they build a bar out of snow with ice, and you can go in there, sit all day in your winter coat and drink like. It's awesome. But anyways, so if you like maple syrup,
have you been to Vancouver?
No, I have not.
I was close. I got to Seattle.
Yeah,
but I want to go. I heard skiing up there where I guess where the Olympics were. I have a friend who goes skiing up there regularly, and it's supposed to be pretty impressive. But I've never been.
Yeah. So if you like maple syrup.
Quebec City.
Go on that island. What was it called again? What?
Orleans. I think it's like d'Orleans. It's like it's got a French term.
Yeah.
But I guess Orleans would be French, since New Orleans is. I had a great conversation with my kid the other day about new. Yeah, about new. Like everything says New York or New Jersey, and the kids. I think they get to high school, they start realizing that. It's new. Somewhere. It's new because it was an old name.
Yes.
And then, York is a place.
Yeah.
And this is the New York.
Yeah.
And like, oh, really? So get a map out, show them the old York.
Yeah.
Show them the old Jersey, kind of thing. I think that's kind of stuff's kind of cool.
Yep.
And I mean, Canada's older than we are. I mean, they've been established for a bit.
Before the United States was?
They had settlers before we did.
Well, the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have no fucking
Have you watched that
clue.
TV show?
No, but I heard it's awesome.
It is awesome.
He sucked me in, and it took me 2 days. It took me all day Friday and all day Saturday, all day Friday evening, all day Saturday. My wife is like going, "Are you going to get off the couch with your headphones off your head today?" I was like, "I have 2 more episodes to go."
My OCD would probably like kick in, like it did with Breaking Bad. Didn't watch the first 4 years of it. 4.5 years of it, like never turned it on, never saw it, didn't know anything about it. Someone said you got to watch it. Went on Netflix, and then 4.5 seasons and 4 weeks later, I'm like, pretty much gave up my life to get caught up.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's
so good.
That's like a new phenomenon. Is this binge watch?
Yeah, and that's what I did. I binged watched 4.5 seasons in like 4 weeks. I kid you not. Like every day I got home from work, I'd watch like 4 episodes. I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna I'd like run on the treadmill for like 20 minutes and work up a really good sweat, and then I just like, oh my god, just sit down there and eat my dinner for like 4 hours.
We had a great conversation at work the other day about Walter White, Dexter, Jax on Sons of Anarchy. These people who are not good people.
Yeah, and why do we love them so much?
And why do we like them so much? You know, what it is about them that makes them, that we get wrapped up in. Is it the bad boy mentality? I know Walter White is, you know, it started out as a teacher who was dying, who needed to find a way, because his teacher pension wasn't going to be able to help his family. So he tried to find another way, as horrible as it was, to make some kind of money for his family. And I think that's what sucked you in. You know?
But then the rock star status is what kept him there, because he was a god then. Like he was, you know, Robert Plant on standing on the speaker, reaching out in the crowd of 80,000 people in 1973 with the microphone saying, I am your god, look at me, and all you women out there, here's my hairy chest, come and like ravage me. I mean, that was Walter White, basically. That's what happened to him. That's what Vision was probably.
Yeah. See, now when I watched it, I kind of looked at it as people were really into him because he was this tiny little geeky little fella that people pushed around, and he got pushed out of his business.
And then he blew that fucking guy up in like the second episode, and it was like,
Jesus Christ,
this guy is a madman. Like,
I was
that's what hooked me.
When that guy walked out of that room, I was like,
"Oh, that one, yeah."
This fucking show is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was gonna tell you that, you know, ever heard of Grace and the Nocturnals? It's a band. Right?
Love Grace and the Nocturnals.
Wonderful, right?
Yes.
And she's
Lion the Beast.
She's smoking fucking hot, but also she has an incredible singing voice,
and she can dance.
And she was interviewed on some
and she plays
show.
a flying V. Any chick that plays a fucking flying V is hot.
She was interviewed, and she said that she was somewhere backstage and doing something, and she met Robert Plant, and she goes, I walked up to him and shook his hand, and somebody introduced us, and she said, I fell right into groupie mode, and I was 19. He was 60 something. I would have taken him back in a room somewhere and screwed his brains out in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So Robert Plant, he's a guy.
Still has it. Yeah.
I have only recently gotten into Led Zeppelin probably in the last 2 or 3 years, and again, I don't do a lot of drugs, but I imagine that sitting back and listening to that music and being stoned would change your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see how back in the day that they became like this, literally a monolith of music.
I just downloaded Jimi Hendrix BBC sessions, and I wish I would have done that years ago.
What year was that?
It was before they broke out in the U.S., so it would have been like 66, maybe 67.
Have you read Sting's book, Broken Music?
No.
He talks about what inspired him to start the Police and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Was he was upstairs in a club when Jimi Hendrix came through before he was big.
Yeah.
And he was on. I can't remember him talking about being on a certain drug in particular, but he remembers sitting back and being stoned on something and watching Jimi Hendrix perform.
Yeah.
And that changed his life.
Yeah.
He knew this was what he was going to do. Was he was going to do music.
Yeah.
Really?
It was before Jimi Hendrix was big. So when he said BBC before he was big, I was like,
he made
I bet you that's Sting was listening to that kind of thing.
He blew up on the England charts like months before he made it in the States.
Really?
I mean, the Jimi Hendrix experience, like Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell are both Englishmen. So like the experience started in England, and that's where he blew up, and then came over here. But like the cool thing about like the download is that it's all the interviews. Like you hear the radio talk show guy from the BBC. You know, he says the things like, it's like you're listening to Austin Powers. He's like, "Hey, groovy man, come on, Jimmy, play us another song. You know, like we used to like to hear. You know." He's like, it's like you're listening to Austin Powers interview Jimi Hendrix, which is funny because that's how they talk. You know, like, "Right on, man, it's solid. Yeah, play us another one." And then he just breaks out and just like melts your fucking brain, and then you're like, ugh, I wish I was alive.
If you ever get a chance to watch anything live, like Woodstock, something like that, and you just watch
Jimmy
it,
plays Monterey.
They still say that nobody can. There's just nobody that had what was missing. You can be a great guitar player or be an incredible guitar player. Like, there was some kind of soul,
sex appeal, soul, the way he dressed. I mean, he literally was like from another planet. Yeah. Like he was just smooth. Like,
have you heard that his movie's coming out?
What?
No. Yeah. Do you know who's playing him? It's been like 5 years in production.
No.
Andre 3000 from Outkast.
Yeah, and that's actually probably a pretty good choice because
they show side-by-side pictures of screenshots from the movie and him, and it looks pretty good. And Andre 3000 has been playing the guitar prepping for this role for like 5 years, and so he's played background guitar for Frank Ocean's first album, Channel One. He played guitar and background for Janelle Monáe.
Left-handed, or did he have to like
I don't know.
superimpose play him right-handed and then superimpose?
I don't know, but when you hear him play, it's a really it's not Jimi Hendrix obviously, but it's a very distinctive sound that he's producing, and it's kind of all of his own. And I had a friend who I'd heard Janelle Monáe's album Metropolis, and I thought you really like this music. It's really great, and it's kind of soul neo kind of rock. And he goes, "Oh wow, that's Andre 3000 playing the guitar." I was like, "How do you know that?" He goes, "Well, check the liner notes to see if that's him." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." Like, he's practicing. He's practicing on doing this for this movie role.
Really?
And I was like, "Oh." So in other words, he's trying to find. He's becoming his own unique musician.
Yeah.
In lieu of playing this unique
pretty
individual.
Cool.
So it's pretty awesome.
I can't
Instead
wait.
of just getting up there and faking it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you seen that movie, the new Farley's Brother music? It's not Farley Brothers, Jesus. The new the Lewin something story. It's a new Coen Brothers. I'm sorry, the Coen Brothers new movie where it's about folk music. Justin Timberlake is in it as a folk singer, and this was really fantastic.
Really?
And the Mumford & Sons. But it's about a guy who was a folk singer back in the day who never really ever made something, but was kind of like birthed the whole folk music kind of thing. And again, they recorded all the music live in all the scenes. That was one thing. T-Bone Burnett produced everything, who's fucking phenomenal producer. He produced all the music for it, and they said, when we shoot the scenes, we're going to play it live, so you have to know the music. And so they found this actor who was a singer-songwriter as well as an actor. And so they found him because of his look, and they said, "So what do you feel about playing music?" "Oh, I've been in bands my whole life. All I've done is play guitar and stuff like that." So he like fit perfectly into it. And then HBO had a great, behind the scenes HBO movie making thing. It was all the music of it. And what I liked about it, I'm a fucking huge Justin Timberlake fan. Anyways,
he's pretty talented.
He came to that and said, well, the lead singer of Mumford & Son said to T-Bone Burnett, "I don't want you to pay me. Can I just come and help? Just let me be there. And if you need my help, I'll help you. I'll play guitar in the background. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it for you." And T-Bone Burnett said, "Yeah, that sounds great." And Justin Timberlake was in the movie itself as an actor and said, "Hey, I'd love to, if you need me, I'd love to sit in as well." And there's tons of scenes in this movie where they're off recording somewhere, and Justin Timberlake's just sitting back on a piano bench watching. And then there's another scene where they're recording music for something, and they're like, "Something's missing." And Justin Timberlake's like, "You need a little bit of bass. There's just a little bit of bass missing for vocal bass." And they're like, "Okay." And they're looking around going, "Who can we do that?" He's like, "Well, I'll try to see if I can sing bass." And so he's staying way back from the microphone, and he's singing as low as he can and as low octave as he can to still sound good. And he's the background bass in one of these songs. So, I mean, there's some of these, wow, we've gone down a real odd rabbit hole. But when you find true artists, I think probably going back to Jimi Hendrix, you find somebody who's is a pure artist, it takes a whole another level. I've always been a Justin Timberlake fan because I thought he had a great voice and was a talented guy. But when you see him not being the center of attention, when you see him filling in the background of something because
doing Dick in a Box on Saturday Night Live,
right?
He's
multi-talented. He's down to earth.
If I met him, I would be starstruck, but I also would be.
Let's go get a beer.
I would say to you, dude, you're fucking amazing, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's all I would say to him. I wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, will you touch my hand? Give me a kiss in the cheek." You know what I mean? He's a true artist that I think is pretty amazing. But that movie by the Coen Brothers again looks absolutely amazing.
When's it coming out?
It's out. I think it's up for an Oscar. And the music.
What's the name of it?
Yeah, why do I not know this? Seriously, not to put you on the spot, but this is bad that I don't. Of course, those the Oscar movies, it's like in Cedar Rapids, it's like you get maybe half of them, maybe.
Well, the nice part is,
and then they win the Oscar, and then they come out here, and it's like, oh look.
Well, I'm gonna hold you right there.
Okay.
The Collins Road Theaters in Cedar Rapids, he always pulls, because those movies are like you said, they're all long gone. Usually, he pulls them back in for the Oscars, and so you can see them all. So Collins Road Theaters, fantastic guy.
I love that place.
Original butter,
buddy owned popcorn, with real butter.
With real butter. Inside Llewyn Davis is the name of the movie.
All right, I can remember that.
Inside Llewyn Davis, yeah. And if you've ever seen like Fargo or some of the movies that they've done, they're kind of a dark, quirky. Yeah. You should see Justin Timberlake in a fucking cardigan sweater and like perfectly combed hair and beard singing folk songs with a guitar with a woman and a guy. It almost makes you want to laugh, but they sound fucking incredible. They're just beautiful.
Like, where can I get the soundtrack?
Yeah. And so, I mean, it looks very, very funny at the same time. It's got John Goodman in it, because he's always in a Coen Brothers movie, you know. Well, but I mean, if you think about "Oh Brother Without Thou," right? Think about the soundtrack for that. Sure. That's T-Bone Burnett. They never thought that movie was going to be that great. They said that because of the soundtrack, it made the movie, which is we'd all agree on. Yeah. They say this is the same exact thing. The soundtrack for this is so flippin' good that it makes the movie be what it is. So I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen it. I'm fucking talking about it, and I haven't seen it.
Speaking of music. What's up with your lady? What's new with your lady?
Oh, well, let's see. Well, actually, since the last time I was on here, the Texaco Country Music Showdown, the contest that she was in, where she was in the Iowa State Finals, she didn't win. That's cool. She's cool with that, you know. I think I took it harder than she did, you know, just because I'm like her biggest fan. You're like, it's like, you know, if you're the wife of like a quarterback for your favorite football team, you know, she probably takes it harder than the husband. You know,
the CD was great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell her that she should have her on sometime. She'll be here next week, so that could happen. You know, that's not out of the question. You know,
hey, honey, I know you came here to see me, but you have to go to these guys.
Believe me, she would have a good time. She would have a good time on here. Just bring some Moscato. She likes Moscato. So, so she didn't win, but you know she took it all in stride. But just about a month ago, the Texaco Country Music Showdown website, she was one of the top 5 most viewed, profiles on their website for this last year. She was actually number 2 of like thousands and thousands of entrants. She was the number 2 most viewed profile.
Really?
So, you know, it's just, and, you know, the finals have come and gone. They were last month in Nashville, and you can go out and watch the videos and listen to the songs of the people that were in the national finals, you know, vying for the $100,000 in the recording contract. And you can listen to their music and go, okay, yeah, they're good. And then I can listen to Tammy's CD and I go, I don't know. And again, I'm partial, so I'm not the person probably to be talking about this, but I think other people that have a good ear for music would agree that it's like, yeah, there's just nothing special about a lot of people.
You have the right to be biased, but as a non-country connoisseur, except for Garth Brooks, that's me, I thought she had a wonderful voice. I thought she sounded great.
Yeah, and she wrote, I mean, all but 2 of the songs on that album she wrote. I mean, so she's a writer. She played on them. You know, she had some pretty good connections. The guy that, so the Mavericks was a big country band in the 90s, and they've started coming back, but the guy that played bass on some of her songs was from the Mavericks. Steve Bowman, who was the original drummer for the Counting Crows, played drums on 2 or 3 of her songs on the album. So,
wow.
Yeah, so she surrounded herself with talent, and, you know, not just from the editing and the producer side, but just musicians that played on that album were pretty freaking talented people. But
sure,
it still comes down to she wrote that music. It was her passion. It was her heart. She self-funded that entire album herself. So it's frustrating that someone put that much of their own personal life into the album and it hasn't taken off, because it's really good. It's like you can hear those songs and go, why isn't this on the radio? You know, and it's just. But
we were talking to Aaron Bunce the other night when we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about like who's the guy who wrote The Firm? Why am I blanking on that?
Is it Tom Clancy?
No, he's the one who did all the spy movies. The Firm. It's not Michael Crichton.
It's funny. Anyways, I have a laptop right here.
I was thinking it was the same thing. He wrote 2 books, and then The Firm was his 3rd book that came out, blew up, and then people went back and said, this book's good.
He also had 2 other ones.
Really good too. Yeah. You know, and I wonder if she might have to put out another song or another album, and then she gets seen, and it's like, oh yeah, this old album's fantastic.
See, and here's the thing: is that the album was officially released in like the end of 11, going on to 12, but she never released it on iTunes or Amazon or any of the other like downloadable websites, because as an artist, as an independent artist at that time, you give up so many rights when you go on iTunes. I mean, you basically have to sign your life away, and you're only getting, of that 99-cent download for that song, you might get 20 cents.
Oh, really?
I thought it was even less than that. It's
ridiculous. Like the amount that you get of the song is ridiculous. But not only that, it becomes the fact that the person that downloads that song is or the album, let's say for $9.99 is a huge country fan, but they have 100 friends that are country fans, and they're gonna just go ahead and burn the CD for all their friends. Well, there's nothing protecting her, and so basically part of the clause is you sign away. You're basically giving up protection that you can't.
Yeah, go after somebody,
right? Because how do you know? First of all,
right.
how do you know? And what's to say that somebody in overseas doesn't download your album, burn it, and then take your image off the internet and create a sleeve and then package it and go, oh, look, here's an independent artist that I'm going to sell their CD at my record store in Belgium for
Beijing.
Yeah. For X amount of dollars, and no one will ever know. She'll never know, So that's kind of what held her back from the iTunes world, because she wanted to see if she could do it kind of on her own first.
Oh, good for her. I mean, there's something to be said for that, about holding on to, for lack of a better word, your integrity.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there is still that kind of it's kind of the ace in the pocket at this point in time. It's like, it's been on for a few years, and it's actually been on the radio. She's still getting checks from Can Country, like just random $20, $40, $100 checks in the mail, and they pay, I think it's 19 cents per spin. But hey, you know what? $20 divided by 19 cents, that's somebody's calling in and requesting her.
Sure.
And she's only released one song, so that's one song off the album that she's officially.
And what song is that?
Didn't Know Much. The number, I think it's number 2 on the album.
Because before I go to Birmingham.
Yeah,
that's if you Google her, that's the first thing that pops up as a YouTube video of that,
which I took. That's me. That's me. That was at her CD release party. That's why the hand's so shaky, because I was like,
I love you, honey.
I know. I'm so nervous.
You'll do great.
Yeah. I sometimes get a little wore out of just doing what we're doing and my full-time job. How does she possibly do everything that she's doing and writing songs and going where she's going and the traveling and the putting together the bands? And she's got a whole full-time job, doesn't she?
And she's got a fiance.
Yeah, no, she's
got a fiance.
She has a career. I mean,
it's
that's
kind of needy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's saying. Sorry, he's got a career.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's, I don't know, it's, and maybe I think that's why we get along so well, is because we both have these careers that we know that we've been successful at to pay the bills, but we also have this really artistic side that just lets us completely get out of the corporate mindset and the cookie cutter, this is how you should live your life approach to the fact that if I have an inspiration, I'll write a song and I'm going to write it down, and I might record that. And hey, I saw some cool stuff and I saw a neat picture in a magazine, and I need to make a watch that takes some of that influence. And so we have this side of where we see things outside of our life, and we combine it with our artistic side, but there's still that I don't know, necessary side of life, I guess I'd call it. That's
one of the two of you can, whatever. Part of my hope is that the artistic side of what both of you are doing for yourselves, one of the two of you takes off.
No, and
to the point where somebody else, to the other person, can start living their dream. Because if she became a rock star or a country rock star, you could probably quit your job and do pressing leathers a full time, couldn't you?
I'd do it on the back of the tour bus. I'd be and I'd be a roadie during the day and tour.
Or you get this guy, if it becomes a very well known thing. I mean, for these concealed gun holsters, or you get somebody famous who starts wearing fucking pressing leathers, and all of a sudden it blows up. Maybe she can quit her job and she can do even more country music stuff. You know what I mean? I hope that artistic part of it for one of the two of you can blossom.
I always told her all along, that is my goal, just for her. You try to, she has a God-given gift that not many people have, and she's done her best to go down the path of making it something that she can survive off of, and it's like since we've met, it's like that's all I want for her is like, because she's good, she's like, I love music, and I think I know music pretty well, and she's good, it's like she deserves to be out there. And it's like, oh my God, how much I would sacrifice for her to have that, chance, So it's like, I don't know. So yeah,
every woman out there right now is just like, oh, I want to be like him, which is actually the epitome of about the perfect soulmate. When you get married to somebody, you have a partner, you want them. I want to emphasize the best qualities in my wife, and I want her to succeed and help her do whatever she needs and wants to do. Likewise, she should. Your partner, you would want them to help you get to your place.
I'm in my happiest place when I'm tooling on leather, and I know she's in her happiest place when she's on stage. It's like she's seen that in me, I've seen that in her. And it's like, but there's the necessity. There's the bills, there's the life that you have to. There's the health insurance. There's all that shit that you sit there and go, oh man.
I'm thinking a full on hand tooled leather guitar case that she walks on stage with. She walks on stage. Have you thought about that?
Oh my God!
She has the strap. How about a guitar case that is? I would a whole cow handed you, but still, that would be sick.
It would be sick. I would need to be unemployed for like 7 months to probably pull that off.
She has to walk on this way, holding it like this, so it says Jason like that.
It's still got udders on it.
Oh God, that was too much. That hurts my feelings. I'm just kidding.
Did we talk about the whole Sasaki thing?
What about it? With the watch thing?
Well, before we hit record, we were talking about it, but
which one?
Oh, Sasaki. No, we didn't. We suggested to Eric Kleinek, the CEO and co-founder of Sasaki, because he's a local guy and has very similar philosophies that you do about giving back and things like that. And we told him about you and you getting back to Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, he loved that part of your business plan. It was about the flood and all that. So I thought he was very inspired about it, and he's like, yeah, I'm always open.
I'm open for anything. Yeah.
For things like that. So I immediately just started fantasizing.
Oh my God. Tradesies. Send me a watch face. I'll send you back the entire watch with a kick-ass cuff. Band.
Shit,
and then you see what happens.
Buy a watch from CPQ Hoyt and take the fucking band off of it and give it to you to build a cup.
That's cool that they sell it here, though. That's awesome.
With the hockey influences or the people that he knows.
Oh my God.
Well, but when I think of hockey, though, because this is why when it struck me when you said it to Eric was, I think of hockey, I think of these big fucking brutish guys. Biz Nasty, the Paul Bissonnette, is one of his guys who is one of his sponsors for his clothes. And he's a big, brooding guy. He's a wonderful guy.
Part owner,
but he's also a badass. And so wearing a cuff watch is right up their fucking alley.
But here's what I've done, though, too, which kind of like makes me think even more. A buddy of mine that I played baseball with, like actually all growing up, and we played against each other in high school, and we played college baseball together. He, about a year and a half ago, gave me, and he was a catcher, gave me one of his catcher's mitts, and he said, hey, I want a watch band made out of my catcher's mitt. So I literally deconstructed his catcher's mitt, and he had a really nice like citizen watch face, and so I made and it's on my Facebook page, I made a watch band out of an old Wilson catcher's mitt into a watch. So I made so I literally cut apart. So I'm thinking hockey gloves, goalie mitts, old skates. They're all made out of leather.
Right. It goes back to
deconstructing those into custom-made cuff watches. It goes back to
the thing you said in the very beginning, an old belt. I want this old buckle to be it's sentimental as well as being a unique piece of art.
So there's definitely a connection with the hockey.
All I'm saying, Eric, if you're listening right now,
we are brainstorming.
A really awesome gift for, let's say, I don't know, Gretzky. Might be like an old-timey, relic-y leather hockey piece of equipment, and then it gets refurbished into an awesome watch band
with a Sasaki watch face on.
Yes,
there you go.
That's pretty sweet. I'm sure Wayne would love that.
Old pair of skates and an old pair of his gloves, and I can scrap enough leather out of that to make it into a kick-ass watch.
I tell you, I think any professional athlete would jump at that. For the idea of, you know where this watch band comes from? It comes from
the uniqueness of it.
The uniqueness of it.
It is. Yeah. Check it out on my Facebook page. I have a I know I have a picture of that watch on there, and I actually thought about doing that with one of my old gloves too, just because it's like, I don't know. It was really fun to do, and you don't realize how much shit leather is in a glove, like how much unusable like leather, especially when you're trying to make something else out of it. But then there's like the really cool pieces that have like the Wilson emblem, or the made in the USA stamp. That's like, oh, I got to incorporate that somehow. And then the old stitch work, you take out all the stitching and the grommets that like stitch the glove together, and it makes a really cool like side piece. So I don't know, it turned out so cool. Like, and he's gotten so many compliments on it, and he's afraid to wear it too.
Your goddamn gun holster that says Precious on it is the best.
That's my gun.
Is that your gun?
Yeah, that's mine. I made that for myself.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All I think about is Stephen Colbert.
I'm a big. Have
you seen Stephen Colbert when he's like, he talks about gun right stuff, and he pulls his .38. He's like, "Oh no, honey, they're not talking about you. It's okay."
Yeah.
He kisses it. It's okay. Oh no, it's okay. They're not talking about.
I think I watched The Hobbit like the night before I made that, like again for like the fifth time, because I watched The Hobbit like 20 times.
Yes.
That's sick though. The leather work is fantastic on that.
Yeah, and the gun's not bad either.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. It scares me. That's good.
I love how the handle matches goes with the
I did
leather.
that. Yeah. I kind of did that
Very
on
nice.
purpose.
And so the baseball glove.
Look under watches. Yeah, it should be under. Like I have a gallery of watches, and it's in there.
But you have a lot of watches on here.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Oh, the old calculator watch. That's fucking great.
Yeah, that's actually Corey's. Yeah.
Wow. Are you wearing that? No. This is like a bronze looking watch face on the cuff.
Now,
if I concealed it, if I carried, I could wear that.
If you fall asleep with that watch on.
Oh, shit. Dude, that's fucking awesome.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I yelled in the microphone.
Yeah, you're getting crazy. All right. That's pretty fucking awesome.
All right. Everybody listening right now, go on Rise Above Leathers by Preston on Facebook and look at it, because he incorporated that whole Wilson part. You can totally see it, and you left the rivets in it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. You can tell it's a baseball glove. That guy has just got to be.
It took me
orgasming
so
every time
long
he puts it on, though. He must be so happy about that.
Can we use that? Can we use that picture?
Oh, totally. You can use whatever you want. Yeah, anything.
We'll put it on our website.
I tore the really shit out of that thing. I think the funnest part for me was just tearing a glove apart, because like I played baseball since I was like old enough to walk, and like the first thing that my brothers and my dad always taught me is like, it's just like when you have a gun, you got to keep it well oiled and keep it in good condition so it doesn't rust. Same thing with a baseball glove. Like the more you baby it, sweat in it, spit in it, oil it up, you baby it so it's like, almost an extension of your hand. So it's almost like a religion around breaking in a good baseball glove. So when you're done with it and you get a new one, I remember the first time I transitioned from like my first glove to like my next glove, because my hands got bigger. It was almost like putting down a pet, because it's like,
right,
it had been with you for so long, and it's so broken in. It feels like just a rag on your hand. So you had to put it down because it didn't fit anymore. And that transition was, there's like a grieving process almost. So there's something to say about someone willing to give up a glove to cut apart and hack to make into something.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an emotional thing, because this is a guy that I've known since we were probably like 7 years old. We played on our first baseball team together, and then we played all up through college together. So it's like, just, I don't know, it was like a sentimental moment, but I don't know, it was really cool, because when it turned out, I'm like, oh my God, this is like, I need to do more of these, because this was really fucking fun,
Yeah, but I mean, I think that vein that you're going off of for that, whether it's the belt with the same belt buckle or it's the glove turned into something.
Yeah.
I mean, that idea of you taking you're repurposing something for something else with sentimental value. God, I don't know where you're gonna have the time to do all this shit. But my first thought is that would be a huge niche.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
That. But I mean, you've got new pictures on here since I was on here last.
Where'd
you go?
I don't know. Just go to photos. Just
go to photos, and then there's
very,
like
very top.
Yeah, there's a watch.
Just hit photos.
I don't get on Facebook very often.
Do you see photos right there? right hand, right at the top of your screen, right there. It says photos. Right below that sexy motherfucker. No, over. No, get off that. Down. Over to your right. Right down. There. Just click on that. There's his gun right there. Okay. Now it'll just give you a list of all of them.
Go to. There should be like a albums. Yeah.
I am not considered
go to watches.
I am not considered the most like manly fucking badass person by any means. I look at these watches and I'm like, these make me want to fucking be like go out and tackle a bear. They're so masculine and so rugged looking.
I feel like putting one on my wrist and then taking a blue pill to make my dick hard.
Hey, how about a cock ring?
Actually, that's what the watch is for. It actually will do that for you without the blue pill.
Oh, you don't need prescription drugs, baby.
You just need the watch.
You just need the watch.
This one right here is really sick.
Which one?
That one.
Yeah, and that's actually
which one?
This one right here.
That is a buddy of mine. I made that for a buddy of mine who is he's an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor in Ohio, and he actually like just patented some like procedure, like it's crazy. But he got that in Czechoslovakia. Like the watch face is from Czechoslovakia, and he sent it to me in the mail. He's like, "Make me a cool watch." Band. I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that." Fuck. Yeah, the one with the baseball. The one with the baseball is that's the one there.
Dude, that is just fucking phenomenal.
I just can't tell you how cool that is.
It was so fun to make that. Like, I want to make more of those. Like,
I'm sorry, I think of all the dumbass softball players I know. And I'm like, oh, like, they buy the shit like that. Do that one right by your cursor down below that. Below that. Right there. Oh, God, that's fucking rustic, too.
That was for my cousin. Yeah. That was like her...
So this shit's all gone. I can't buy any of this stuff.
Yeah, that was her grandmother's watch. That was a tough one to make because it was like the sterling silver band she wanted like incorporated. So I had to like... That was tough to work into the leather, but it worked out.
Dude, you're going to get a lot of Christmas... orders from me. I need a belt. I want a belt with I want a belt with the TPST on the back of it because I just saw the RS. Was it say RS something or other? Oh, one says JDRF on the back.
Junior Diabetes Research Foundation. Yeah, I made that cuff for them. Yeah.
Okay, I want a belt that says the Primal Scream podcast. Oh,
we can do that. That was hand carved too. That was kind of cool.
And I like this look too. I wouldn't mind having.
Oh, you know what? You know what's funny?
Up and to the left, I like that one too.
So get this.
One more over, other way.
I should like
that one.
There's a watch on here. Actually, the one to the middle, right in the middle, second one over from the right. That one. Click on that. Okay, so that watch I made for a dude who he saw me at that. Okay, so that watch face. This guy saw me at like an art show, I think 2 years ago, let's say, in the Quad Cities. Gave him a card, contacted me, said, "Hey, I got like an old watch face of my dad's. Can you make me a watch?" And he lived somewhere off of 80. I'm trying to think which town it was. About 30, just past Iowa City, like Tiffin, maybe.
Okay.
Anyways, we met up. I took the watch face, made that watch for him. Okay, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. Met him, sold it, bought. He paid me the money. But about 2 months ago, I was on Craigslist looking for. I think I put in. I don't know what I did a search for, like old, custom leather work or something, or custom leather tools. I was looking for tools. Like I always troll Craigslist for old leatherworking tools. And for some reason, it took me to this posting where a guy was selling that watch. The guy that I made that watch for was selling that watch on Craigslist. So I'm thinking, my shit's hit like secondary market already. Like, this is crazy. It's like someone selling an old Louis Vuitton purse. It's like my watch was it was that watch. Like, it was.
Did you buy it?
No, like he was selling it like for more than what he paid me for it.
Okay.
But he like, I don't know. It's kind of like he fell on hard times and he needed the money.
Oh, okay.
But he was selling that watch right there, which I thought was like that's kind of a new thing. Like I've never. My stuff has never hit like resale. So
I'm having like this epiphany because I have my grandfather's watch.
Paint me a picture.
I have my grandfather's watch that when he died, I helped clean out his apartment in California. It was a horrible experience. because he was pretty much my mentor and my dad's mentor for that matter. And I found this watch, and it has one of those wristbands that are like expandable that pinch your skin and your hair in between.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a horrible watch face. And I've had it in a drawer for almost 6 or 7 years now. And I thought about giving it to Junior, just the way it is, and say, hey, get this fixed, it's yours. And as it passed me down, because my grandpa taught him how to play dominoes. And so he kind of remembers him a little bit. But none of my other kids do. But now I'm just like, oh, my God. There's a guy who fixes watches here in Cedar Rapids.
Bentley Watch Repair downtown. I'm big fan of theirs. Like pretty much anybody that gives me a watch face that says, hey, this is my dad's, my granddad's, my grandma's, whatever. That's my first stop to get it fixed, cleaned. They do amazing work, and they're
fucking done deal.
So take it there. I'm a big fan. You. Yeah, no, I
there you go.
And I've done that, and I just incorporate it into my price. I'm like, and I just staple their bill to what I charge you for the watch band, and say, here's what you owe me. And it works out really well. And they know me in there now because I've taken so many watches.
I have this feeling, and it's deep down in my tummy.
Does I have a feeling seem very serendipitous?
No, I think that
it's a good word.
When I see, it's a beautiful word. When I see, again, I'm always caught off. I look at your Facebook page all the time because I'm seeing so many neat things on there. I see this because it's so grassroots, because it's so focused on giving back and being part of a local kind of situation and promoting things like the watch fixture you just talked about.
Oh, I love it.
I'm telling you, I see this as kind of like going along for a while and doing pretty good and having little niches here and there and being unique, and all of a sudden just like boom, just fucking blowing up because it's so unique. Can you imagine the baseball players who are out there, whether they're high school or college or they're pro, and they're done and they must have fucking 50 baseball gloves sitting around, if not more than that, because they've used
and they mold. Like old baseball gloves will.
Why not fucking send one
when
of
you
those
stop
in?
Oiling them? They just mold. I mean, that's all they do. They rot and they mold. I mean, and that's
send it in and have somebody make something.
Totally.
Out of it. Oh my God!
You guys want to watch the video?
Amazing.
Yeah, let me see.
Let's do it.
Go to YouTube, and this is the unofficial world premiere.
Oh, dude, I like the shells on that. By the way.
Oh, thank you.
That's neat.
Like that?
A little TPSTP on there would be fucking fantastic.
Search for, it's called The Rise Above Leathers. And hopefully that's the only video out there titled that. You got volume on this bad boy?
So far, you're so good. There you go.
Yeah, click on that bad boy.
We'll post it on our website too.
Right here?
Yeah, that's it.
We'll make sure we get on the website.
This is Kevin Bassett and Cory Bassett. Actually, Cory did the video work, and his brother did the soundtrack.
Rise Above Leathers was conceived out of the sorrows of a city. I was sandbagging in waist-deep river water around Mercy Hospital, which is the place where I was born, and this well of emotions just really got a hold of me.
Can you make that full screen?
Watch your hometown emerge.
I haven't seen it in full screen on a big TV.
I knew that volunteer time alone was not going to be enough to make the city thrive again. So that's really when the seed was planted. My goal at that point was to create a brand that would be a source of funding to give back to the ongoing rebuilding and revitalization efforts in the greater Cedar Rapids community. Throughout travels over the last several years, I started venturing out at night and absorbing a lot of the music, cultural, and artisan scenes. Between New York, Philly, the Rust Belt, Seattle, and LA, the climate there for trends was just so open and volatile, and the reception typically preceded Iowa by about 2 years or more. I wanted to create a standard that matched the riskiness that you see in the big cities and their style with the grit of the Midwest. People often ask me, why leather? Leather's just something that gets better with age, the color and the feel of it. It reminds you of the first baseball glove you had as a kid. It reminds me of the jackets that you see Jimi Hendrix wearing in old pictures that just adds to his mystique, and it has this resilience about it that reminds me of being an Iowan and the farming and manufacturing that really became the backbone of the state. When you walk around the city now, it's in this period of rebirth. If you spend any time in Checktown, the Nouveau District, or downtown, there are reminders everywhere that the city didn't just rebuild to the status quo. It saw a chance to revive itself to a level better than it was before the flood, and we'll continue to see that for the foreseeable future. I've had a lot of people tell me that I'd have greater success if I were in a big city. They always say, why Iowa? Why stay here? Of course, my immediate response is, why not? The way you can market yourself globally through a website and social media, your customers are really a lot closer than you think. Whatever you do, if you do it well enough, it shouldn't matter where you do it. It's an exciting time to live in my hometown as it continues to rediscover, emerge, and rise above.
I'm so stoked to release that's gonna be like when we do the library thing, like this is gonna be like surround sound, big screen, yeah. And then like obviously Kevin did the soundtrack and Cory did like the video and the editing, like,
and they're brothers.
Yeah, okay. yeah. And Kevin is actually doing my website too, so like they've been with me through this whole transition, and I'm really like grateful for that because they're so like inspiring.
That was really well produced and shot.
Yeah,
I mean, that was really good.
It was, oh my god, like yeah, I had so much fun. Like that process was, I mean, I'm sure those guys would be the first to tell you it's like it was really tedious.
Dude, I love that. That was
video,
awesome.
That video was fantastic.
Awesome video.
Yeah, so that we've held back. Like I had to make it public for Kevin to be able to like upload it to the website, like even though the website's still in like the development phase, like we just wanted to get it on there to see like how it would transition, and it did well. But like you saw that there was only 20 some views, and I know that like 12 of them were like Kevin and Cory and I, but like the other ones I don't know who those were, but that's good that people are watching it. But like we really want to do a like the website launch, we want to make kind of a big deal about, like invite people, have, you know, free drinks and a couple of, you know, watches to give away for people to show up. Say this is how you know, kind of walk them through the menu bar. This is how you maneuver through the website. Here's the history of the business. Thank you very much for coming. And then basically tell everybody the video link is here. And then do some sort of giveaway on Facebook. Like if you, of all the people that share this video, you know, I think there's a way to track that on Facebook.
Could you get the Gazette involved? I mean, could you get?
Oh yeah, no, I've already talked to Hoopla.
Okay, good.
Like I've talked to Hoopla about, you know, on the Hoopla like website or Facebook page having a link there,
good.
Which is a good, you know, kind of.
I mean, somebody writing an article like
oh yeah,
somebody writing an article specifically geared towards that.
I plan on approaching every like outlet that would cover me at that point, because that really, like, that video kind of sums up everything about the business, like in 4 minutes.
And again, the Gazette is so local. I mean, it's a part of Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can get so many of those venues involved, you know.
And then we were talking about the Collins Road Theater. They do a lot of local advertising before, even to have that playing as a preview before a movie, a second run movie. I mean,
great idea.
I don't know what it costs, but hey, it'd be a cool venue to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
You've got a captive audience of 150 people that have probably never heard of you, and force them.
And I'm telling you, when maybe it's because I'm from Iowa and I'm local, but all I can think about is that shirt that he wears on What About Bob, the movie. I'm local. Staying at the camp. Is if you find people that are, I mean, that guy who runs Collins Road Theater is not out to make $1 gazillion and open some big movie theater. He's there to provide the best movies that he can after they've gone off the market, so to speak, so that the normal average Joe doesn't pay $50 to go see a movie.
Right.
And so if you I almost think that it would be a done deal that you could find somebody who says, "Hey, I'm another local person who wants to get my name out there."
Yep.
You know, $100 a week. You know, what would it cost? I bet you anything he'd be one of those guys who would say, like, I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see that happening, especially here in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, you got your buddy also on the Can Man show.
Oh yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. So I've got another podcast to like kind of unload it on through there.
The other podcast.
Yes.
The other. I really want to talk to him sometime. I'd love.
He would love to be on here. He's really like, and actually he just got cast in the new Cedar Rapids theater play that is going to be coming out in, I think, early April. But it was what the hell's the name of it? Two sets of parents are their children. Excuse me.
The Parent Trap. The Parent Trap.
They fought on a playground, so the two parents had to come together, and the whole play is about the parents coming together about their two boys fighting on a playground. Like James Gandolfini starred in it in Broadway.
Oh.
But it's. I'm trying to, and the name is slipping me. But anyways, Can Man just got cast in one of the lead roles in that. So he's one of the 4 leads in that.
Wow.
So, in the next month, it'd be awesome to have him on because he's going to be going through like, the just kind of giving you the background of that. But I mean,
Well, we'd love to have another podcaster on. We've never. Yeah. I only know one other guy who's
he's here. Oh yeah, no, he's been doing it for, I'm trying to think, 2-3 years now. I think I'm trying to think how many episodes he's up to. Well over, close to a couple hundred. So
wow. So well, we've talked about that in the past.
But all in his bedroom, like all in a spare bedroom. So I mean,
God bless him.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. So
my goal is to have Matt have his own place his own studio that he goes to, and I come in and visit him a couple times a week to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But he also produces podcasts, and that's his job. That's my goal for him, because I love my job, and I can never imagine not doing my job. I love it so much, but I also love this too. But I would love to see him.
That idea actually kind of sparked a few weeks ago. I was at Hard Drive MMA here in town, and they have an open gym on Saturday, and I got invited to go in there and roll around, do some jiu-jitsu with some guys.
Keone invited you in.
Yep. Keone Coke. And I was there with Jared, Demonized Downing, and Rocky. And after we got done rolling around and we're exhausted, there was a couple of guys I hadn't met yet. And pretty much everybody was done working out. We were just kind of sitting up against a wall, exhausted. And we were talking about different things. And it came out that I do podcasting. And one of the guys that was there who I didn't spar with, he goes, you do? How much, he started asking me questions. How much money does it go into for the microphones and all this stuff? And I said, well, what's your interest? Did you want to do something like that? He goes, you know what? I every day I drive home from work, I listen to the same sports podcast. I'm like, oh, so you're really into sports? You must really like that podcast. He goes, no, I fucking hate it. I hate it, but that's the only one that's like the best one out of all the ones that I've looked at. Really? But I still hate it, and I know that my buddy and I can do a better one. I'm obsessed with wanting to do one. I go, why don't you and your buddy put together what you want to talk about, and you can totally come over to my house and use my equipment. I'll have it all set up, and I'll hit record, and then you'll have one to see, is that what you want to do? And that was like the first spark of an idea. Like, I would love to have a studio that I could do my own podcast. That's my full-time job, and then other people can come in and do whatever they want. Do they want to do a podcast of their own?
Well, they're using our equipment. I mean, the idea is that you're producing it for them via our equipment.
Yeah.
So you get something from that. Isn't there there's a music studio, a recording studio in Czech Village, I think, still. And this has got to be 15 years ago that I had a friend who was doing some Native American music playing, and they did it in Czech Village in Cedar Rapids. But I don't know if that studio is still there, and I got a chance to go in and listen, but I hadn't been there for a really long time.
I was going to say, because above Parlor City, they tried to get the New Bow radio station off the ground. Like, they actually had the frequency and everything set up, but then the frequency you could only get it in like Central City and Coggin. So it was really
was it AM?
It was really fucking weird. No, I think it was actually FM.
Really?
But I don't know that it's still going, but it was the space right above Parlor City, the bar.
Love Parlor City.
Yeah. but it said, New Bow 90 whatever,
Yeah.
But it just I saw, like, I drove by the other day and the stickers were down, so like that was supposed to be the New Bow radio station. So to me, that would be a freaking awesome mecca for like a podcast, because it's right in the epicenter of everything that's happening in Cedar Rapids, like everything cool that's happening.
And what's funny is that the New Bow area has taken off so fast. You've got to imagine that the people of downtown Cedar Rapids are a little bummed.
I want a storefront in there so bad.
It's such a neat place. I mean, the first time I met Chuck was at what's the
Brew Cafe?
Cafe, and he was doing Moe's for Bros t-shirt.
Yeah,
mustaches for testicular cancer. Yeah. And it says Moe's with the arrow pointing up and Bros pointing down. And I got one for my dad, my father-in-law, and I met him with my kids. Yeah. We went to New Bow Market and hung around for a while. Then we came over. I had no idea what Chuck looked like, but I saw a guy sitting and he handed out t-shirts to two people that walked in. I was like, I think that's the guy we're looking for. Yeah. Shan Ramsey, who runs Trees Forever in Marion, Iowa. Okay, she's a huge fan of Nubo Market and Cedar Rapids, period, because she started her business here. She has friends at CSPS, and I said we'd love to have those guys on. And she goes, "Oh, I know so and so and so and so. They run it." And I was like, "Awesome! Will you leave me their phone number because I want to call them?" Because, like you said, I think they got a huge grant from FEMA after the floods to redo everything, and it was a very, very old building to start with, but they redid the entire building, and so it's like a fantastic venue now. And I saw a guy down there. This is long before this is a couple years before the flood. He played pipes. He had built his own instruments with like steel piping and plastic piping, and they like swung around him on wires and shit. It was really odd. It was a very, very odd thing to watch, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It sounded fantastic. Yeah. But you wouldn't see. I mean, again, this is one of those situations where CSPS in downtown Cedar Rapids, you're not going to be able to find that anywhere else other than a very unique venue. And CSPS also has like art shows. They're not just a one vein kind of thing. They do a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm surprised that you don't have opportunities to have shows there.
I haven't pursued it, but I think it's probably available if I could. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine that'd be great to have. I mean, you would be people. I know so many. I know personally so many wealthy Cedar Rapidians who love CSPS and promote CSPS. Yeah. That would, you put on Facebook that you're going to CSPS. It's so unique they'd flock down there. That's so cool. And Nubo Market, like you said, is just doing phenomenal stuff. And what's the building that you said you were in, the art building that's next to it?
The Cherry Building.
Cherry Building.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about
that is like the epicenter of like artists in that neighborhood. It's crazy.
And we talked about it last time you was here. The fire kiln, the wood kiln outside. My sister, freaking had an orgasm when we walked by and saw it. Yeah. And so inside, it's just nothing full of small little rooms or used to be offices or industrial areas that they've turned into a shop that just is something that they think is unique and is willing to. I mean, it's a pretty beautiful place.
Yeah, it is.
I like the idea that Cedar Rapids is coming back. It's not all fresh and new like the YMCA, which I think is awesome, or the new government building downtown. There's parts they've taken our old buildings and turned around. It's wonderful.
I really want to a friend of mine posted pictures of the old on Mays Island, what used to be the old City Hall, which is Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Pictures from inside of that since oh my God, it literally looks like you're going to watch a boxing match in the 1920s because it's got, I don't know if you've ever been in there, but the old wooden floors and the old wooden seating and kind of the stadium type seating with the stage on the end. I mean, that's where Kiss first played in Cedar Rapids in 76 was at the old Vets Coliseum.
They redid the entire Grant Wood stained
glass. It took piece by piece,
redone the entire thing,
whole ground floor. And I really want to have like an art.
So it's in other words, they redid the 20s. They didn't change anything.
No,
they refurbished it back to what it was, and it's unbelievable.
But like an artisan show, like that's what I want to start reaching out to people.
Great idea.
Other people I know that do kind of like what I do, and just have a Saturday show in there. Don't charge admission. $20 a table and just see what we could get the space for.
Oh, it's a great idea
because it's just it's just such a cool historic building that plenty of parking. You get all your new fucking parking ramps and places that they leveled to create parking spaces.
Your backwards parking spaces.
Yeah, back in whatever, but just fill up the back end with leather. But yeah, that to me would be a cool thing because you get the lighting too, the natural lighting from the old windows up above that. I don't know. Just be a cool place, I think, to have an art show.
That is a fantastic idea because it's not being used.
No,
it's just not. It's just sitting there. Yeah. And they won't tear it down because it's just been around for so long.
Yeah,
it's just been around forever. And I have so many people who have not from Cedar Rapids, and we drive through Cedar Rapids either at night or during the day. Like, what's that big gold thing? In downtown Cedar Rapids.
Is there a battleship parked in the middle of the downtown? It looks like a.
I've had people who've lived here and been like, I don't think I've ever seen that before. What is that thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So. That's all you, by the way. Everything of mine is turned way off. Yeah.
Oh, I apologize.
Or Chuck's chiming off.
I got nothing. Nobody wants to talk to me.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? That is a fantastic idea. You know what? I know somebody who could podcast from there. Can we have a have a corner for $20? That'd be fantastic.
You know what? We need to. We should get a hold of Can Man.
Yep.
Have him on, promote the show that he's going to be in.
Yep.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And
well, maybe Can-Man might be able to get us into Cedar Rapids theaters and say, let's have 2 or 3 of the actors on at one time talking about the production. I have no idea how a play is even ran.
I'm sure he would.
You know,
love to do
so
that.
you have some people who said, "Oh my gosh, it has all these things involved. I have no idea how that works."
Yeah,
you know?
that's part of what this podcast has given me that I've never had before, and that's really I guess it used to be called like rubbing elbows, but it's just you're meeting people, like-minded people that have this niche, this cool, creative side to them, but I don't know everything. But then I talk to Chuck, and Chuck says something, and then that inspires me to go down this road.
Right.
Hopefully I've inspired him to do some hockey watches.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we talk about the Can-Man, and then that opens up another opportunity, and then we think about Nubo Market and the area down there, and 5 or 10 years from now, who knows, maybe we're doing podcasting from...
Well,
why could you not set up? I mean,
my first thought is set up call somebody at Nubo Market and set up a podcast area at Nubo Market.
It's $20 to rent a space there.
Yeah, at Nubo Market.
Great idea.
On a weekend, like you can go to their website. They have I think it's $20 maybe for like a vendor space, but just rent out a vendor space one day and do your podcast there. You know,
that's a great idea.
You're only out $20, but still, it sparks.
And we can go to Big Boy Meats and get some fucking good, awesome grass-fed, no hormone meat too.
And I actually like the banner that I want to hang in here. The big canvas banner that I said I'd gladly donate to you guys. I know the guy that makes those, and he will give you they're really affordable, and he does a really freaking awesome job. So
we could be like,
and you could make your own Primal Scream banner to hang at your little station.
It'd be like an MMA fight. Hang your banner behind us.
Yeah,
sweet.
Totally. Or on your table, whatever. I mean,
all right, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I'm totally down with it. Todd?
Yeah.
We've probably taken up a lot of Chuck's tonight.
Oh. Chuck had a great fucking time.
I had a great fucking time.
As did us, and that's why it seems like it passes in a blink.
It does.
It's been 3 hours.
It's unreal. Like I didn't.
Holy shit! It has been 3 hours.
I told you.
Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen.
When you hear it, it'll be an hour and a half because it's been edited down.
Yes.
I only took maybe 20 minutes out of the last one.
Only 20 minutes out of 2 hours. Jeez Louise. Sorry. Upsa Daisy.
Go ahead. Daisy.
I caught myself at least, you know.
So for everybody out there who is listening to this, Todd, why don't you tell them how to tell other people how they could possibly reach us in other venues?
Well, I'm going to first of all say theprimalscream.org is the best place to go to. When you're on there, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We're going to have a shitload of pictures and links to Chuck Cavanaugh's Preston's Rise Above Leathers, so you can see some of the things that he has to offer you. And I'm telling you, if you are not inspired by the goddamn baseball glove watch, I am telling you that is phenomenal. And my first thought is, as a fan and as a person who is nostalgic, the first thought was my grandfather's watch sitting in the goddamn drawer that I don't use. And so I'm going to go get it fixed, and I'm going to give it to Chuck, and he's going to repurpose it. And that makes me happy just to even think about that.
And I'll tell you something else. As somebody who has a set of balls,
oh, wow,
I would love just a gift that is so sentimental, that is made from something else. That whole idea of watch bands being made from a baseball glove that has a story behind it, that just screams testosterone. It screams manliness. Yes. It just does. And if you don't have anything it's that fucking cool, go to Rise Above Leathers.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care if it's your old bowling ball bag. It's made out of leather. I'll make a watch for you. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe Gramps was
a pair of Nick's stinky socks.
Yeah.
He will make a goddamn watch out. Sorry, I'm just
leather
just
socks?
I said stinky socks, not leather socks. I'm being an asshole. Sorry.
I'll edit that out.
Don't edit it out. Nick would love hearing that. He's at the gym all day. He can fucking listen to shit. He'd like it.
All right. So did you cover everything? What about YouTube? Did you cover YouTube?
No, I didn't. I'm getting used to it.
What's up with YouTube?
Because new things and transitions are difficult for me.
Hey.
So YouTube is one of our new venues. You can go to the Primal Scream podcast on YouTube, and we will pop right up. If you find a band called the Primal Scream, they're pretty fucking great too, but it's not us. So we've had people say, "You're not a band, are you?" Nope. We are a podcast. So if you hear music, good for them. If you hear talking, good for us.
And if you see a big monkey screaming, that's us.
Yeah.
That's us.
There you go.
So thank you very much, Chuck, for being on tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Every
time.
Fantastic
job.
I just love hanging out with you, man.
No, dude, it's awesome.
It's inspiring and it's thought-provoking.
Very much so.
And it brings to light all these other artistic things that are going on in the area when I think, oh, what does my city have to offer?
I know.
What's going on in my city? Chuck Cavanaugh knows.
Got to challenge yourself. Got to challenge yourself.
That's a great slogan right there. Chuck Cavanaugh knows.
Chuck Cavanaugh knows.
Mm-hmm. I try.
Hey, and who was it that created your video for YouTube?
It was Cory Bassett did the filming and editing.
Okay.
And his brother Kevin is the did the soundtrack.
Okay.
And he also is my web designer.
Okay.
So,
and now, do they do that that's their profession? Is that what they doing?
Yes, they are available for hire to do those same things for you if you so choose. Yes.
Awesome. So everybody
and they're very talented. Like, I couldn't ask for like two better people to make what I had crammed in my head come to reality on the screen to capture what I really wanted to have people know about, why I started the business and what it means to me and what it means to have it relate back to the town, so.
And we'll have a link to that YouTube video because I know you heard it, but it's a cooler thing to see it.
You didn't hear it because it was edited out. That's way too long for people to hear.
It's not that long.
I like the word. I think the whole beginning of it, for the first half for sure. The second half is all music, and so it'll be like do do do.
Oh, I
loved it because I'm watching Chuck fucking work. I watched Chuck fucking work some lemon. I got all excited. The first part of it has some talking.
Kudos to you, Bassett Brothers.
Yes,
because I couldn't rip my fucking eyes away from it.
And I was
captivating.
It was a good job because I was watching it, just feeling the anticipation build and build and build, and then boom, get to watch some shit happen. It's fantastic.
I've never enjoyed watching another man walk so much in my life.
Excuse me, sir. It's not walking. That's called strutting.
He was strutting.
He was
working it.
It was
across
a jacket.
The Lion Bridge.
It's a jacket.
Do another bridge for me. Don't say it's done.
That jacket was made in San Francisco in probably about 1968. It was all about that jacket.
Boom.
That's what it was.
This fucking night.
Well, that's it for us tonight at the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I am Todd.
And thanks again, Chuck.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys later.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Good night.